Chapter 2262. Hebatian is very powerful. He is ranked 7,000th on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. He was very anxious when he saw that Ningyu did not choose to leave. Hebatian was a ruthless person. Anyone who offended him would not have a good ending. It's fine, Ningyu said indifferently, indicating that He did not need to worry. With his current strength, not to mention that Hebatian was only ranked 7,000th, even if he was ranked 5,000th, he could easily kill him. You killed He Hong? At this moment, Hebatian's voice sounded. Hearing this, Ningyu looked up at Hebatian and said indifferently, "What does it have to do with you?" "What does it have to do with me? Haha, I am He Hong's uncle. Do you think it has anything to do with me?" Hebatian raised the corner of his mouth and said sinisterly, "I will give you a chance to live. Kneel down, kowtow to me a few times, and then lick my toes. Otherwise, I will let you know why flowers." Swish. However, before Hebatian could finish his words, Ningyu turned into an afterimage and dashed out. Pa pa pa. He raised his right hand and continuously slapped Hebatian's face. Under Ningyu's slaps, Hebatian's face gradually swelled up. What? The sudden change caused the expressions of the experts of the He clan to change, and their faces were filled with shock. What was going on? Why did Hebatian stand there and let Ningyu slap his face? Ningyu only stopped when Hebatian's head swelled up like a pig's head. Hebatian let out a hysterical scream as he touched his cheek. To be honest, not only did the He clan not understand, but even Hebatian himself was a little confused. Go. All of you, go. Hebatian clenched his fists and roared fiercely, "Whoever kills Ningyu will be the next master of the He clan." Boom. As the saying went, there would be brave men under great rewards. The temptation of the He family's patriarch was too great. Although Ningyu had beaten Hebatian's head into a pig's head, in the eyes of the remaining He clan members, Ningyu must have used evil arts. That was to say, they did not think that Ningyu was stronger than Hebatian. Voila! Everyone from the He clan moved and rushed toward Ningyu. They were afraid that if they were a step too late, Ningyu would be killed by others. Humph! You overestimate yourself. Ningyu let out a cold snort as he watched everyone from the He clan charge towards him. He immediately took out the red demon sword and slashed repeatedly. Pu pu pu. Every time the red demon sword was swung, there would be a He clan elite who would be killed. In just a few seconds, only 7 or 8 of the He clan experts who attacked Ningyu were left. According to this trend, it wouldn't be long before the He clan's powerhouses were completely annihilated. Damn it! Seeing that Ningyu was so powerful, Hebatian's face turned livid and he could not help but curse. Heading to the Cloud Valley this time, he brought dozens of He clan experts over. Unexpectedly, he did not get any benefits, and the He clan elites were all killed. One could imagine. If he went back like this, the Grand Supreme Patriarch would definitely not let him go. Fight. In desperation, Hebatian reached into his pocket with his right hand and took out a silver-white elixir. Crack. Hebatian chewed the elixir to pieces as soon as it entered his mouth. The rich elixir went down his throat and into his stomach. Boom. In an instant, a terrifying aura rushed out of Hebatian's body and shot into the sky. Oh no! Feeling the terrifying aura from Hebatian, Ningyu did not have any reaction, but Hongyu's face changed. The Hong clan of the Brilliant Void territory had an unparalleled expert who was ranked 5,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. According to Hongyu's understanding, Hebatian's aura was even more terrifying than that of the Hong clan's unparalleled expert. Previously, Hebatian was ranked 7,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Now, Hebatian's ranking could at least enter 5,000. Would Ningyu be a match for him? Hebatian twisted his neck, making a cracking sound, and said to Ningyu coldly, "I said that no one in the world can save you. Kneel down and kowtow to me a few times." "Maybe idiot." Without waiting for Hebatian to finish, Ningyu withdrew the red demon sword and retreated to the other side. He said indifferently, "I really don't understand why an idiot like you can become the clan leader of the He clan. You're courting death." Hebatian trembled when he was interrupted by Ningyu. He shouted in a low voice, then turned into a shadow and rushed toward Ningyu. Rumble. It was just as Hong Yu had guessed. After swallowing the elixir, He-Bashan's strength was enough to enter the top 5,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. His strength is not bad. Looking at He-Batian, who was rushing towards him, Ningyu frowned slightly. Ningyu's original plan was to kill He-Batian. But now, he suddenly changed his mind. It was better to capture him alive than to kill him. After all, half of the He clan's experts were still there. When the matter at Cloud Valley was settled, he would definitely go to the He clan in the Tyrant territory again. By then, He-Batian would be leading the way, which would save him a lot of unnecessary trouble. Ningyu, you will pay with your blood today. He-Batian roared and punched at Ningyu's head with a violent gale of immortal energy. He-Bashan's punch was extremely powerful. Even a peerless expert ranked in the top 5,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list might not be able to withstand it. He had used his full strength, not hesitating to overdraft his life force to unleash an attack, and the power of his attack had increased by several times at the very least. Bang! The next moment, Ningyu's right hand clenched into a fist and collided with He-Bashan's fist. The two collided. Ningyu did not move from his spot, but He-Batian retreated dozens of feet before he could stabilize himself. With this strike, it was clear who was stronger. How is this possible? He-Bashan's pupils constricted, and his face was full of disbelief. He really couldn't understand why Ningyu was able to easily block the move that he had put all his strength into. Could it be that Ningyu was pretending to be weak? He-Batian had analyzed Ningyu's strength from the battle scenes he had received from the memory crystal a few days ago. It had only been a few days. How could Ningyu's strength have soared to such a terrifying level? He-Batian did not believe it. There's nothing that's impossible. Ningyu did not continue to attack. Instead, he said lightly, I will give you a chance to live. Relax. Swoosh. He-Bashan's face darkened. He knew what it meant to relax. Once he relaxed his mind, it was very likely that he would become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered by Ningyu. However, he was no match for Ningyu if he did not relax. Run. Just for a moment. He-Batian made his decision. Run as far as he could. He would only have a chance to take revenge if he survived. If he was controlled by Ningyu, he would never be able to take revenge for the rest of his life. Run. Hee. Chapter 2263. Phew. He-Batian looked back as he ran. He heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that Ningyu had not caught up. Humph. When I return to the He clan and report to the Supreme Patriarch, he'll definitely cut you into pieces. He-Batian snorted coldly. He-Batian thought for a moment and said sinisterly, before I return to the He clan, I'll make a trip to Skystar City and turn it into hell on earth. Hee. He-Batian could not help but laugh weirdly as though he could already see the destruction of Skystar City. Is that so? At that moment, an indifferent voice suddenly rang in He-Bashan's ears. Yes, no, you. He-Batian nodded before shaking his head. He looked at the familiar figure in front of him and said in fear, How did you catch up to me? Is it strange to catch up to you? Ningyu shrugged. I gave you a chance to live, but you didn't know how to cherish it. Don't blame me if that's the case. It won't be that easy to kill me. He-Bashan's expression was cold as he revealed a determined expression. Buzz. The immortal chi in his body surged as He-Bashan's body began to swell. Even if I die, I'll drag someone down with me, He-Batian said coldly, the self-destruction of a peak stage Saint Immortal, even a half-step Heavenly Lord will be skinned. Self-destruction in front of me? I have to say, you're really naive. Ningyu's expression was emotionless as he tossed the Red Fiend sword in his hand. Swoosh. The Red Fiend sword drew a mark in the air and arrived in front of He-Batian in the blink of an eye. Block it. At the critical moment, He-Batian also took out a red flying sword and placed it in front of him. However, how high was the level of the Red Fiend sword? Recently, the Red Fiend sword had been devouring, causing his strength to reach the Saint Immortal realm. The red flying sword that He-Batian took out was not of a particularly high level. It was naturally at a disadvantage against the Red Fiend sword. Crack. A crisp sound was heard. The red flying sword in Hebation's hand broke into two. Puff. As for the red devil sword, it was under the dual control of Ningyu and the red devil. Taking advantage of Hebation's carelessness, it suddenly stabbed into his heart. Kai 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 kai. As soon as the red fiend sword pierced through Hebation's heart, the red fiend sword began its frenzied devouring. Oh my god. Leave some for me. Ningyu cursed on the spot. Hebation's ranking on the Heavenly Lord substitute list was as high as 7,000. Devouring him would increase his strength by at least 5%. Puff. Not long after, Hebation was devoured by Ningyu and the red fiend into human skin. I'll go into seclusion first. After saying that, the red fiend fell completely silent. After devouring Hebation, Hong Mo was confident that his cultivation base would rise to the intermediate Saint Immortal stage or even the mastery Saint Immortal stage. You win. Ningyu rolled his eyes. He didn't gain anything from competing with the Red Devil for the energy in Hebation's body. Both sides were evenly matched. That was to say, the Red Fiend's devouring ability was no weaker than his. In a sense, it was even stronger than him. Without staying there, Ningyu kept the Red Fiend sword and immediately flew towards Hongyu. A few seconds later, Ningyu came to Hongyu's side and stopped. Where's Hebation? Hongyu asked hurriedly when she saw Ningyu coming back alone. Dead. Ningyu replied casually and then began to deal with the corpses of the He clan's experts. Apart from Hebation, there were another 20 to 30 Saint Immortal experts in the He clan. These people were also not a small amount of wealth. Ignoring Hongyu's shocked gaze, Ningyu exerted the devouring power in his body and devoured the He clan's experts crazily. Almost every few seconds, an expert from the He clan would be devoured. Very good. In just over a minute, the He clan's experts were all devoured by Ningyu. Feeling the density of the immortal chi in his body, Ningyu nodded in satisfaction. Then, he flicked his fingers and several flames of immortal chi came out to dispose of the He clan's corpses so that there was no evidence. Gulp. Ningyu's brutal performance made Hongyu swallow a mouthful of saliva. Hongyu thought that she had overestimated Ningyu. However, Ningyu's performance made her realize that she was wrong. Being able to kill Hebation so easily meant that Ningyu was at least ranked in the top 5,000 on the Lord of Heaven substitute list. Let's go. There's an area ahead. I heard that there are corpses of half-step Lord of Heaven realm heavenly demons there. Ningyu waved at Hongyu and said, let's work together and get the corpses first. When he devoured Hebation, Ningyu-shun also devoured his most recent memories. Devouring Hebation's memories was a great risk for Ningyu. After all, Hebation was a peerless expert at the peak of the Saint Immortal stage. With Ningyu's current strength, he could only devour Hebation's memories for the last 10 minutes or so. If he wanted to go any further, he wouldn't be able to. Half-step Lord of Heaven realm corpse. Hearing this, Hongyu was stunned at first, then she stepped on the ground and followed Ningyu closely. She went to Xia Valley to get the corpses of Lord of Heaven realm corpse. But there must be many experts fighting for the corpses of Lord of Heaven realm corpse. It would be good if she could get the corpses of Lord of Heaven realm corpse. Swish. Swish. According to his memory, Ningyu soon came to the blocked entrance. Let go. Ningyu waved his hand and motioned Hongyu to take a step back. Hongyu understood and took a few steps back. Ningyu clenched his right hand into a fist, and with a violent force, he punched the blocked entrance in front of him. Rumble. Just one punch. The entrance was blasted open. Bang. Even the martial artists guarding the entrance were blasted away. Clatter. The sudden change caused the expressions of all the martial artists in the space to change. Especially Wu Minghe and the grey-robed old man, their faces were gloomy to the extreme. Originally, they had pushed Hebation away and were thinking of pushing Du Shiyong away. Who would have thought that at the critical moment when Du Shiyong and the grey-robed old man were fighting, an entrance was suddenly blasted open? How dare you? Wu Minghe's face was gloomy. This is not a place where you can come. Guards. The grey-robed old man stopped fighting with Du Shiyong and said coldly, kill these two rascals. Wait. Du Shiyong rolled his eyes and felt that the opportunity had come. He took a step forward and said in a deep voice, "The altar is about to appear. It's not a good time to fight. In my opinion, let them stay." "Stay?" Wu Ming he raised his eyebrows and said, "You can stay, but you have to take a punch from me." The word punch was heard. Wu Ming he stomped on the ground and rushed toward Ning Yu. Almost in an instant, Wu Ming he came to Ning Yu's side, clenched his right fist, and suddenly punched. Bang! Facing Wu Ming his attack, Ning Yu also raised his right hand and collided with Wu Ming his fist. Swish! Swish! After one move, Ning Yu and Wu Ming he took a few steps back at the same time. Chapter 2264. What vigorous immortal chi! Wu Ming looked at Ning Yu coldly, his heart in turmoil. It should be known. In order to kill his opponent with a single punch, he had used a total of 80% of his strength in that move. He thought he could kill Ning Yu easily. Who would have thought that they would be evenly matched? His strength is SOSO. He should be ranked in the top 4,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Ning Yu was not too shocked. Wu Ming had used 80% of his power, whereas he had only used 30% of his power. In this area, the only martial artist that he was afraid of was the grey-robed old man. He could feel a frightening aura from the grey-robed old man. It was no surprise. The grey-robed old man's true strength was at least in the top 4,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Of course, this was under the premise that he had not used his trump cards. If the grey-robed old man still had some trump cards, he could even be in the top 3,500 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. You are qualified to stay. After weighing the pros and cons, Wu Ming finally chose to compromise and let Ning Yu and Hong Yu stay. Wu Ming was not a reckless man. He knew very well that unless he teamed up with the grey-robed old man, he could not drive Ning Yu out by himself. He had communicated with the grey-robed old man. However, the grey-robed old man did not pay attention to him. Wu Ming had no choice but to compromise. "Welcome, both of you." Du Shiyong was the most excited when Wu Ming chose to compromise. He quickly waved at Ning Yu and Hong Yu and said, "In a dozen minutes, the corpse of a half-step Heavenly Lord Realm Heavenly Demon will appear. At that time, we might as well." Du Shiyong did not finish his sentence. But what he meant was self-evident. He wanted to join forces with Ning Yu. Wu Ming and the grey-robed old man were powerful, and they had the backing of the brilliant Void Weave and the Zilan Weave. If Du Shiyong did not find a partner, even if the corpse of a half-step Heavenly Lord appeared, it would have nothing to do with him. Therefore, he was looking forward to joining forces with Ning Yu. "We'll talk about it when the time comes." Ning Yu waved his hand and said indifferently. To him, even if the grey-robed old man was powerful, he was not afraid. "Don't." Wu Ming is from the brilliant Void Weaves clan. The grey-robed elder is called Yang Ming, and his from the Violet Orchid Weave. Ning Yu's reaction made Du Shiyong panic. If he couldn't find a partner to cooperate with, he would most likely suffer when Yang Ming and Crane obtained the Heavenly Demon's corpse. Nameless Crane? Ning Yu raised his eyebrows. Not long ago, he killed a young man called Wu Shuang. This young man was called Nameless Crane. It was obvious that they had a close relationship. That's right. Wu Ming is a peerless genius of the He family. His strength is exceptionally strong. Du Shiyong quickly said. In order to hitch a ride on Ning Yu's ship, Du Shiyong tried his best to keep a low profile. Ning Yu nodded and said, "We can work together, but I don't want you to play any tricks." "Don't worry, I won't play any tricks." Seeing that Ning Yu had agreed, Du Shiyong patted his chest and promised. Whoosh! Du Shiyong had found a powerful helper. The group of itinerant cultivators behind him revealed a look of relief. In the previous period of time, they could be said to have suffered a lot of supercilious looks. Whether it was the He family's martial artists or the martial artists of the Zilan Weave, none of them treated them as humans. Now that Ning Yu had joined them, they instantly straightened up. Drip, drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, more than 10 minutes had passed. Rumble. All of a sudden, the ground caved in, and an altar that wasn't particularly large slowly rose from the ground. Swish. Seeing the altar rise, all the cultivators in the area shifted their gazes over. Everyone knew very well. Inside the altar, there was a half-step heavenly monarch realm heavenly demon's corpse. Swish. 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 Under the temptation of the half-step heavenly demon's corpse, more than a dozen martial artists sprang out and rushed to the altar. Puff. Puff. The result was obvious. Before these martial artists could even get close to the altar, they were hit in the heart by the cold light that shot out from the altar and died on the spot. Hiss. The sudden change caused the surrounding martial artists to suck in a breath of cold air. They were glad that they didn't rush out like idiots. Otherwise, one of the martial artists lying on the ground would definitely be among them. What fools. He Wu Ming looked at everything coldly and said in a deep voice, "All members of the He family, listen up. Whoever dares to act without my permission, don't blame me for being impolite." Yes. The He family's martial artists responded in unison. Young family's men, step back. Yang Ming also shouted in a deep voice. Swish. The Yang family's martial artists tactfully took a few steps back and retreated to the entrance of the area. Their intention was clear. As long as there was something wrong, they would immediately leave. Where there was life, there was hope. Only by living could there be hope. Ah. I've let you see a joke. Seeing that none of the He family and the Yang family rushed out, Du Shiyong scratched his head awkwardly. Although he was the leader of the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance, his deterrent power did not exist at all. The dozen martial artists who rushed out just now, without exception, were all from the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance. Now, there were only 8 martial artists from the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance standing next to him, including him, Ningyu, and Hongyu. In other words, only 5 martial artists did not act on their own. It's okay. Ningyu waved his hand, indicating that Du Shiyong did not have to worry about it. These people from the Itinerant Cultivators Alliance were unorganized and undisciplined. They were completely a mass of loose sand. If you were with them, you would be sold sooner or later. Boom. At this moment, the altar was completely out of the ground and fell steadily. Swish. As soon as the altar stabilized, He Wu Ming, Yang Ming, Du Shiyong, and Ningyu naturally took a step forward. Apart from Hongyu, there might only be 4 of them who were qualified and had the strength to approach the altar. Hongyu originally wanted to participate in the fight for the half-step Lord of Heaven's corpse. However, when she saw that Ningyu was very interested, she immediately chose to give up. To be fair, the 4 of us, each of us has a chance. He Wu Ming glanced at the faces of Ningyu and Yang Ming and said in a deep voice, "I'll go first." "Why do you have to go first?" Du Shiyong's face was very ugly. "Since we want to be fair, we should go first. Stop quarreling." Yang Ming waved his hand and said impatiently, "As for who goes first, according to the ranking of the Lord of Heaven substitute list." "I don't agree. I don't agree," Du Shiyong and He Wu Ming said in unison. Everyone wanted to be the first to approach the altar. Because the first person to approach the altar had the highest probability of grabbing the Lord of Heaven's corpse. "Give it to them." Ningyu patted Du Shiyong on the shoulder and said lightly, "The corpse in the altar is not simple. With your strength, it is basically impossible to take it away." Chapter 2265. Not simple? Haha, if you are weak, just say so. Why are you looking for excuses? He Wu Ming smiled and said disdainfully, "Only trash will look for excuses. Those with real strength will take the initiative to challenge." Idiot. Ningyu rolled his eyes. There was indeed a corpse in the altar. However, the corpse was not at the half-step Lord of Heaven level, but the corpse of a Lord of Heaven level heavenly demon. Ningyu knew that he did not have the ability to subdue the corpse of a Lord of Heaven level heavenly demon for the time being. Since He Wu Ming wanted to take the lead, it was better to let him do it first and reap the benefits. "What did you say?" Although Ningyu's voice was not loud, He Wu Ming still heard it. "I dare you to say it again." He Wu Ming was extremely angry. In his opinion, it was not that he did not want to kill Ningyu, but that he was thinking about the overall situation. Unexpectedly, Ningyu was getting more and more arrogant. Wouldn't I lose face if I said it just because you asked me to? Ningyu shrugged, then took a few steps back and stood next to Hongyu. Okay, you can be the first one to approach the altar. Seeing that He Wuming wanted to fight with Ningyu, he waved his hand and said to He Wuming, as for whether we can get the corpse of the heavenly demon or not, it has little to do with us. Humph. Just you wait. He Wuming glared fiercely at Ningyu, then stomped his feet on the ground and charged towards the altar. Why give it to him? Hongyu frowned and said doubtfully, you are not weak. If you are the first one to approach the altar, you should have a good chance of taking it. You are too naive. Ningyu shook his head slowly and then said, there is indeed a corpse in the altar, but the cultivation of the corpse was at the Lord of Heaven level when it was alive. What? Hongyu's mouth was slightly open, and her face was full of disbelief. She quickly used a secret method and began to observe the altar. Hiss. She sucked in a breath of cold air when she saw what it was. Ningyu was right. The corpse in the altar was a heavenly monarch when it was alive. There was an insurmountable gap between a half-step heavenly lord and a heavenly lord. Their corpses were also as different as heaven and earth. Ningyu might be able to easily take away the corpse of a half-step heaven monarch, but it might be difficult for him to even get close to the corpse of a heaven monarch. Why don't you give this corpse to me? Hongyu's eyes flickered. She gritted her teeth and said, I can help you collect the celestial demon's corpse in the future. Are you sure you can take him away? Ningyu stared into Hongyu's eyes and hesitated. Don't worry. I have my ways, Hongyu said in a deep voice. Well, good luck, Ningyu said. In fact, there was one thing that Hongyu did not guess correctly. Ningyu would not be able to take away an ordinary human lord of heaven's corpse. However, Ningyu had a way to deal with the corpse of the Lord of Heaven among the Scythians. The Heavenly Demon Tower. The Heavenly Demon Tower had a fatal restraint on the Scythians. The Heavenly Demon Tower might not be able to deal with a living Lord of Heaven, but it could still deal with a dead Lord of Heaven. Ah. Ningyu was still talking to Hongyu. He Wuming was already close to the corpse. It was a pity. He Wuming's palm had just touched the altar when a cold light shot out from the altar. Even though he tried his best to dodge, he still failed and was hit in the chest by the cold light. Crack, crack, crack. 3 crisp sounds were heard in a row. He Wuming's ribs were broken on the spot. Bang. As for Wuming Crane himself, he crashed heavily into the ground and fell face first onto the ground. Puff. He Wuming's breath began to drop sharply as he spat out blood. Damn it. Nameless Crane cursed inwardly as his nose became crooked. He Wuming had fought for the right to be the first to get close to the altar, but he still failed. Let me do it. Yang Ming's expression was solemn. He pondered for a moment and finally dashed out. Yang Ming was very confident in his strength. He Wuming's failure did not mean that he would fail. After all, he was much stronger than He Wuming in terms of raw strength. He Wuming was confident that he could defeat and even kill Yang Ming in less than 100 moves. Come out. Yang Ming was very fast. He came to the altar in the blink of an eye. He stretched out his right hand and placed it on the altar. Swoosh. It was the same scene. A cold light shot out from the altar and went straight for Yang Ming's chest. Swish. Yang Ming reacted quickly. Before the altar reached his chest, he dodged it. Humph. Insignificant trick. After dodging the cold light, Yang Ming smirked and snorted. In the face of absolute strength, all schemes are useless. Oh no. Swoosh. However, Yang Ming's expression changed before he could finish his words. He had no time to think and immediately chose to retreat. Because he noticed that several streaks of cold light shot out from the altar, and they were charging at him at an extremely terrifying speed. Moreover, the power of these cold lights was obviously much stronger than the previous one. Although he was strong, he had no confidence in facing so many cold lights. Puff, puff, puff. The final result was not beyond everyone's expectations. Yang Ming failed to dodge the cold light attack and was hit in the chest by several cold lights. Crack, crack, crack. A series of cracking sounds could be heard. Yang Ming's ribs were even more miserable than He Wuming's. He Wuming had 3 broken ribs, but Yang Ming had 4 or 5 broken ribs. Damn it! Yang Ming punched the ground heavily and roared angrily. At this time, he recalled Ningyu's words. The corpse in the altar was not simple. When Ningyu said that, although he did not mock him like He Wuming, he still felt some disdain deep in his heart. Now, he finally understood. Ningyu and the corpse in the altar were not simple. It's your turn. He Wuming looked at Ningyu coldly and said fiercely, both of us are close to the altar. You must get close to the altar too. He Wuming's mentality was very simple. Even if I am not good, I will never let you be good. This, Du Shiyong hesitated. Even He Wuming and Yang Ming were seriously injured. With his strength, he could only be cannon fodder. Let me do it. Hong Yu took a step forward and took out a palm-sized paper from his arms. The paper looked ordinary, but the color was a little blood red. Rustle. Soon, Hong Yu came to the side of the altar. Pa. Without touching the altar with his hand, Hong Yu directly stuck the red paper on the altar. Kai. However, as soon as the paper was stuck on the altar, it suddenly burned and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. How is this possible? This change was obviously beyond Hong Yu's expectation. Chapter 2266. Humph. Wuming he curled his lips and snorted. I thought you were powerful. Turns out you're just a wax figure. He was a peak saint immortal expert. Although several of his ribs had been broken, it wasn't too difficult for him to reconnect them. He seemed to have recovered to his peak state. Not only did he mock Hong Yu, but he also looked at Ningyu provocatively. How is this possible? How is this possible? Hong Yu stared at the burning paper in a daze, his face full of disbelief. One should know. The red paper was the family's treasure for dealing with heavenly demon corpses. The red paper played a big role in the Hong family's survival in the Kungsu territory for so many years. After all, the Hong family had subdued many heavenly demon corpses with the help of the red paper. 10 years ago, the Hong family's current leader used the red paper to subdue a Lord of Heaven corpse. It's simple. Your paper is fake. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders and pointed at the ashes on the ground. It can't even subdue a half-step Heaven Monarch Realm corpse, let alone a Heaven Monarch Realm corpse. Wow, you seem to know a lot about that red paper. He raised his eyebrows and said, Are you from the Hong family? In the vast Kungsu territory, only the Hong family has the authentic red paper. Everyone else's are all fake and inferior products. Idiot. Ningyu couldn't be bothered with Nameless Crane. He would have killed him if he wasn't afraid of affecting the corpses in the altar. How did an idiot like Nameless Crane manage to survive until now? You only know how to talk. He didn't care about Ningyu's abuse at all. He said with an evil smile, Now everyone is near the altar except you and Du Shiyong. Are you afraid? Hihi, it's hard to say. Du Shiyong is very timid. I don't think they dare to go. I bet a piece of essence crystal. 1 piece. I bet 1 million. They won't dare to go. He Wuming egged them on. The group of experts from the He family began to discuss among themselves. Of course. They were not discussing, but openly mocking Ningyu. I'll bet 2. Puff. On the other side. A saint immortal expert from the Violet Orchid Weave was just about to speak when he was kicked to the ground by Yang Ming, causing him to fall flat on his face. Whoever dares to spout nonsense will be punished according to the family rules. Yang Ming looked back at everyone and said coldly. Yang Ming was very shrewd. He wouldn't allow the Yang family to do as they pleased. Ever since Ningyu arrived, he had been very calm. In Yang Ming's opinion, Ningyu must be hiding something. This, Du Shiyong hesitated. He looked at Ningyu, not knowing what to do. Even Yang Ming and Wuming Crane were trapped in a tight encirclement, let alone him. Let me do it. Ningyu patted Du Shiyong's shoulder and said lightly, You two go out first. Go out? Why do you want to go out? Du Shiyong was puzzled. If you don't want to die, you can stay. Ningyu shrugged, indicating that it didn't matter. Rustle. Hong Yu didn't ask any more questions. She moved her feet and left. Seeing Hong Yu leave, Du Shiyong seemed to be struggling. Okay, I'll go too. In the end, Du Xiong seemed to have made a difficult decision. He followed Hong Yu and left. What a pair of wise men. Seeing Hong Yu and Du Xiong leave in a daze, Wu Mingcrane said disdainfully, leaving now is equivalent to giving up the fight for the Lord of Heaven's body. You guys go too. Looking at Hong Yu and Du Xiong's backs, Yang Ming pondered for a moment, then said to the Yang family behind him, no one is allowed to come back without my permission. Old Yang, we don't have to go, right? The members of the Yang family looked at each other, and all of them could see the shock in each other's eyes. They knew why Hong Yu and Du Xiong left. After all, they had offended Wu Mingcrane. If they stayed, they wouldn't have a good time. But why did they leave? In terms of numbers, they were no less than the He family. In terms of top combat power, Yang Ming wasn't weaker than Wu Mingcrane. In general, the Yang family wasn't afraid of the He family at all. You don't even listen to me. Yang Ming's face gradually became cold, and he said in a deep voice, I'll give you 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, whoever dares to wander in front of me will be punished according to the family rules. Okay. Hearing the word family rules, the Yang family immediately compromised. The Yang family's family rules were well known in the Zilan territory. Swoosh. The next moment, everyone from the Yang family moved and left the area in an instant. Humph. I'd like to see what tricks you're playing today. Wu Mingcrane's face became extremely cold. He stared at Ningyu and snorted, hurry up and get close to the altar. Ningyu wasn't impulsive. He first hid the heavenly demon tower in his sleeve, then carefully walked toward the altar. Although he had the heavenly demon tower, Ningyu didn't dare to be careless. After all, the body of a Lord of Heaven was not simple. Hihi, look at how careful you are. I guess you're also a wax head with a silver spear. Wu Mingcrane raised the corner of his mouth and smiled. How could a wax head with a silver spear be possible? In my opinion, he's just a wooden stick at best. Calling him a wooden stick is a bit of a compliment. He's just a potato. Ha ha ha. The He family sneered again. With He Wuming backing them up, they became more and more unscrupulous. Look, he's going to touch the altar with his hands. A He family martial artist pointed at Ningyu and shouted. Swoosh. Hearing that, all the martial artists in the area shifted their eyes to Ningyu. Yang Ming of the Zilan territory frowned slightly, a puzzled expression on his face. He admitted that Ningyu gave him a very mysterious feeling. However, no matter how mysterious he was, he shouldn't touch the altar with his hands. He didn't believe that Ningyu's strength was comparable to his. Ningyu turned a deaf ear to the crowd's reaction. He reached out his right hand and slowly approached the altar. Rumble. However, before Ningyu's palm touched the altar, it began to shake violently. Moreover, the frequency of the shaking became faster and faster, to a terrifying extent. Ha ha ha. What did I say? A wax head with a silver spear. It's really a wax head with a silver spear. The sudden change did not make Wu Mingcrane nervous at all. On the contrary, he jumped up and taunted, looking like he deserved a beating. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Retribution always came quickly for people like Wu Mingcrane. As the altar shook, several beams of cold light shot out from it. The cold light was very fast. Almost in an instant, it arrived in front of Wu Mingcrane. Block it. At this time, Wu Mingcrane was finally moved. He waved his hands and performed several palm prints to block the attack of the cold light. Chapter 2267. Arth. My eyes. My nose. Who saw my nose? Hey, you're stepping on my ear. Get out of my way. Under the attack of so many cold lights. For a moment, all kinds of shouts and curses came one after another. The whole area instantly turned into hell on earth. Relatively speaking, Yang Ming felt somewhat fortunate. Fortunately, he evacuated the Yang family in advance. Otherwise, the He family's current situation would be a true portrayal of the Yang family. Damn it. Looking back at the He family's miserable state, He Wuming's nose was crooked. He was unable to deal with the cold lights alone, let alone help the He family. Therefore, he could only watch the He family members die one after another. Ningyu. He Wu-ming transferred the hatred in his heart to Ning-yu. He clenched his fists and looked at Ning-yu fiercely. He Wu-ming, will not live under the same sky with you. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, I will definitely kill you. Swish. At this moment, a cold light suddenly appeared in front of He Wu-ming, blasting at his head. It was a critical moment. He Wu-ming hurriedly dodged to the side, barely dodging the cold light's attack. However, even so, his cheek was still cut by the cold light, and a bloody scar appeared. He Wu-ming touched the bloody mark on his cheek and made up his mind. No matter what. They all wanted to kill Ning-yu. If he was alive, they wanted to see him. If he was dead, they wanted to see his corpse. Rumble. Ning-yu didn't care about He Wu-ming's reaction. At this moment, his eyes were fixed on the rapidly rotating altar, and a storm was set off in his heart. He originally thought that there was only one Heaven Monarch Realm Heaven Devil's corpse in the altar, but now, he knew that he was wrong. He was ridiculously wrong. There were a total of 3 Heavenly Demon corpses in the altar, 2 half-step Heavenly Demon corpses, and 1 Heavenly Demon corpses. Collect them. Ning-yu's mind moved, and he quietly threw the Heavenly Demon Tower into the altar when they weren't paying attention. Using the Heavenly Demon Tower to collect the Heavenly Demon's corpse was perfect. However, Ning-yu didn't want Nameless Crane and Yang Ming to see it. If they saw it, the consequences would be unimaginable. Who said that he was not afraid of He Wu-ming? However, for He Wu-ming to become the peerless genius of the He family, He Wu-ming should have some trump cards. Under such circumstances, once Yang Ming and Crane joined hands to besiege him, he would fall into a dangerous situation. Buzz. As soon as the Heavenly Demon Pagoda entered the altar, it began to devour the Heaven Monarch Realm corpses in a frenzy. Ning-yu planned to collect the Heaven Monarch Realm corpse first. As for the other 2, he decided not to touch them for the time being. Otherwise, he would inevitably be besieged by Yang Ming and Wu-ming He. Drip. Drip. Time was ticking away. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. In these 10 minutes, there were only 3 warriors left in the entire area. All the rogue cultivators were dead. Everyone from the He clan had died a horrible death. Only the powerful Ning-yu, Nameless Crane, and Yang Ming were still alive. Whoosh. 10 minutes was enough for the Heavenly Demon Tower to collect the Heaven Monarch Realm corpse. Ning-yu slapped the altar, quietly withdrew the Heavenly Demon Tower, and retreated to the other side. At the moment, the situation in the secret room was that Ning-yu, Wu-ming He, and Yang Ming had formed a tripod. The altar was in the center. There are 2 half-step Heaven Monarch Realm corpses in the altar. Ning-yu put away the Heavenly Demon Tower and said indifferently, "There are 3 of us. In my opinion, let's discuss how to distribute it first." Distribute it. As soon as Ning-yu's voice fell, Wu-ming He shouted, "The distribution is very simple. The 3 of us will exchange pointers. Whoever is weak will get lost." "I agree," Yang Ming echoed. Seeing that Ning-yu did not speak, Wu-ming He said coldly, "Are you afraid?" "Afraid? He. The word afraid does not exist in my dictionary." Ning-yu smiled faintly and said, "I was thinking about something. What is the relationship between He Wushuang and you?" "He is my brother." Wu-ming He said proudly. But soon, Wu-ming He realized that something was wrong. How could Ning-yu be He Wushuang? No wonder. Ning-yu shrugged and said, "You 2 do look alike. What did you do to my brother?" Wu-ming He shouted coldly, "If anything happens to him, I will kill you." "I'm sorry, but your brother won't have the chance to die because he has already gone to hell," Ning-yu said calmly. "What? You killed my brother?" Wu-ming His pupils shrank, and even the veins on his forehead were bulging. In the He family, he had the best relationship with He Wushuang. It was also his idea to go to the evil spirit battlefield's Cloud Valley. He did not expect that he would get separated from He Wushuang as soon as they entered the Cloud Valley. How could he not be angry when he heard that He Wushuang was killed by Ning-yu? Swoosh. Stamping his feet on the ground, Wu-ming Crane dashed forward at high speed, arriving in front of Ning-yu in the blink of an eye. Then, he punched out with a violent immortal energy gale toward Ning-yu's head. Crack. Facing the incoming punch, Ningyu raised his right hand and casually threw a punch. The two collided. A crisp sound rang out. Ningyu stood on the same spot, but Wu-Ming he retreated several meters before coming to a stop. Fart. Fresh blood spurted out. Wu-Ming his aura dropped from the peak Saint Immortal realm to the late-stage Saint Immortal realm. Crack. However, Wu-Ming he quickly took out a white pill from his pocket and tossed it into his mouth to chew. In an instant, his aura soared from the late-stage Saint Immortal realm to the peak Saint Immortal realm. A heavenly monarch grade pill? Ningyu's expression was grave. There were 3 grades of heavenly monarch grade pills. Lower heavenly pill, middle heavenly pill, and heavenly pill. The white pill that Wu-Ming he swallowed should belong to the lower heavenly pill category. Even a lower heavenly pill could instantly replenish the immortal chi of a peak Saint Immortal realm martial artist. It could be said that, with the lower heavenly pill, Wu-Ming his overall combat strength would increase by at least several times. It's good that you know. Wu-Ming he twisted his neck and said, that was just a warm-up. The real battle is coming up next. Young Ming, let's join forces and kill Ningyu. Then, we'll each take one of the half-step Heavenly Lord corpses in the altar. Through the exchange just now, Wu-Ming he had a rough idea of Ningyu's strength. He might not be able to win if they fought to the death. Therefore, he wanted to join forces with Young Ming to deal with Ningyu. That's what I mean. Ningyu took a step forward and said, kill Young Ming and divide his heavenly pills. Then, we'll each take one of the heavenly demon corpses in the altar. You two are putting me in a difficult position. Young Ming showed a hesitant expression. Since there were only 2 corpses in the altar, he could only side with one. He had to choose a side. There was only one chance. If he chose the right side, he would get the heavenly demon corpses. Chapter 2268. What's so difficult about that? With our strength, isn't it a piece of cake for us to kill a half-step Saint Immortal trash? Upon seeing Young Ming's hesitation, Wu-Ming Crane waved his hand disdainfully. In his opinion, he might not be able to pose a threat to Ningyu in a one-on-one fight. However, as long as he and Young Ming worked together, they could definitely kill Ningyu easily. Let me think about it. Young Ming thought about it and extended 3 fingers. 3 minutes. I'll give you an answer in 3 minutes. Humph. Wu-Ming Crane snorted coldly and did not rush Young Ming. Wu-Ming Crane was no fool. Right now, Young Ming was the boss. If he angered Young Ming and caused Young Ming to side with Ningyu, he would lose more than he gained. You only have 1 minute to think about it. Wu-Ming Crane was afraid of lively Young Ming, but Ningyu was not. Wu-Ming Crane waved his hand and said plainly, because my patience is limited. Your patience is limited. Ha ha ha. Wu-Ming Crane was startled at first when he heard Ningyu's words. Then, he threw his head back and laughed maniacally. Initially, Wu-Ming Crane was worried that Young Ming would side with Ningyu. But now, the worry in his heart disappeared completely. If he were in Ningyu's shoes, he would not be able to tolerate it either. However, Young Ming's reaction was beyond Wu-Ming Crane's expectations. Young Ming merely frowned slightly and said, there's no need to wait for a minute. I can give you an answer now. I want to work with you to deal with Wu-Ming Crane. Boom. Wu-Ming Crane's head exploded. He would never have thought that Young Ming would choose to work with Ningyu. One should know that Ningyu was very disdainful of Young Ming's performance. Very well, very well. The mountains will not change, and the rivers will flow forever. We will meet again. Even though he was very unwilling, Wu-Ming Crane did not do anything extreme. After leaving a harsh sentence, he turned and walked out. Swoosh, swoosh. However, how could Ningyu and Young Ming allow Nameless Crane to escape? 4 Ningyu, Hongyu and Du Shiyong were outside. 4 Young Ming, the Young family was outside. Once Nameless Crane left, he would definitely take revenge on them. Since they had decided to cooperate, Ningyu and Young Ming would naturally join hands to deal with Nameless Crane. His figure flashed. Ningyu and Young Ming appeared in front of Nameless Crane at the same time, blocking his way. What do you want? Wu-Ming's expression was gloomy as he shouted in a low voice. Rumble. Ningyu and Yang Ming didn't waste any time and attacked at the same time. Among them, Ningyu wielded the red demon sword and slashed out a sword radiance in the air. Yang Ming took out a palm-sized dagger and threw it out. Kai Kai. The dagger and the sword beam moved at the same time, arriving in front of Crane in the blink of an eye. Block. It was a critical moment. Wu-Ming Crane hurriedly gathered the true energy in his body onto his fist, wanting to block the sword light and the dagger attack. Fart. However, given Yang Ming and Ningyu's strength, there was no way Wu-Ming Crane could block them. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Wu-Ming Crane was sent flying, slamming heavily into the ground and falling flat on his face. Crack. Although he had fallen, he didn't care at all. He immediately took out a white medicinal pill and tossed it into his mouth. The white medicinal pill entered his stomach. In almost an instant, Wu-Ming Crane's aura returned to its peak state. In fact, Wu-Ming Crane's aura even grew stronger. A peak inferior grade heavenly pill. Without a doubt, the white medicinal pill Wu-Ming Crane had just consumed was a peak inferior grade heavenly pill. It was only one step away from becoming a mid-grade heavenly pill. It won't be that easy to kill me. Wu-Ming Crane stood up and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. I'll remember the two of you. As long as I don't die, don't think about having an easy time. Who will make a move? Ningyu didn't care about Wu-Ming Crane's threat. He looked at Yang Ming and said calmly, whoever kills Wu-Ming Crane will obtain his heavenly pill. I'll let you have it. Yang Ming said without hesitation. Yang Ming had some understanding of Wu-Ming Crane. As the #1 genius of the brilliant Void Territories He family, Wu-Ming Crane was very powerful. If one was careless when fighting with him, they would fail miserably. Although Yang Ming wanted the lower heavenly pill, he wanted the heavenly demon's corpse even more. Swoosh. Yang Ming was afraid of failing miserably, but Ningyu wasn't afraid. Through the short exchange just now, Ningyu had roughly determined Wu-Ming Crane's true combat strength. Even if Wu-Ming Crane had some trump cards, he was definitely no match for Yang Ming. Moreover, would Wu-Ming Crane dare to use his trump cards? After all, there was still Yang Ming eyeing him covetously. As long as Wu-Ming Crane wasn't a fool, he would never use his trump cards. And this was the reason why Ningyu attacked without mercy. Kill. Ningyu held the red demon sword and slashed at Wu-Ming Crane's heart. It was an ordinary slash. On the surface, Ningyu's slash seemed ordinary. It didn't even cause the slightest ripple. However, only Ningyu knew that. The power of this slash was equivalent to his full-force attack. The reason why he concealed it was because he wanted to catch Wu-Ming Crane off guard. Only by catching Wu-Ming Crane off guard could he kill Wu-Ming Crane without using his trump cards. You want to kill me with such little strength? Wu-Ming Crane smirked as he looked at the flying sword stabbing at him. He didn't take it seriously at all. With the lower heavenly pill in hand, Wu-Ming Crane didn't panic. As long as Ningyu couldn't kill him with one slash, he could use the lower heavenly pill to recover. Is that so? Wu-Ming Crane's reaction made Ningyu's lips curl up. You seem to have a misunderstanding about strength. As soon as he said that, Ningyu dashed out and appeared in front of Wu-Ming Crane at an astonishing speed. Oh no! The sudden change was out of Wu-Ming Crane's expectations. He didn't have time to think and immediately chose to retreat. Poochie. Only then did Wu-Ming Crane think of retreating, but it was already too late. Ningyu held the red fiend sword and stabbed him in the heart. Moreover, Ningyu's eyes and hands were sharp, and he snatched the lower heaven pill a step ahead of him. After losing the lower heavenly pill, Wu-Ming Crane couldn't help but scream. He relied on the lower heavenly pill. Now that the pill was snatched away by Ningyu, it was equivalent to having one of his arms chopped off. Of course, that wasn't the main point. The main point was that Wu-Ming Crane's heart had been pierced by the red fiend sword. Generally speaking, with the heart pierced, unless some ancient almighty came back to life, it was impossible to survive. Was Wu-Ming Crane an ancient almighty? The answer was obviously not. I'm going to kill you and turn your bones to dust. On his deathbed, Wu-Ming Crane took out a blue talisman and growled, if I die, you won't have it easy either. Oh no, it's the Heavenly Monarch talisman. Chapter 2269. Heavenly Monarch Talisman. As the name suggested, it was a kind of talisman made by a heavenly lord. Normally, the explosion of a heavenly monarch talisman was equivalent to a full-force attack from a half-step heavenly monarch. Some high-grade heaven monarch talisman amulets could even reach a heaven monarch expert's all-out attack. The talisman that Wu Ming he had taken out was clearly the former. But even so, it would be hard for Ning Yu and Yang Ming to resist. After all, with the strength of Ning Yu and Yang Ming, it was impossible for them to fight with a half-step heavenly lord for the time being. We must stop him. Yang Ming clenched his fists and said fiercely, the explosion of the heaven monarch talisman is very powerful. We definitely can't withstand it. Whoosh. Whoosh. Ning Yu was not an indecisive person. After Yang Ming's reminder, he immediately rushed out and charged toward Nameless Crane. On the other hand, Yang Ming rushed out together. Buzz. However, when Yang Ming was about to approach Crane Wu Ming, he suddenly turned his head and swept toward the exit. Yang Ming's speed was very fast, and he even used all his strength. Ning Yu, I'll leave this place to you. I'll keep an eye on your friends outside. After finishing this sentence, Yang Ming disappeared from the sight of Ning Yu and Nameless Crane. Kaka. At the same time, Yang Ming also blocked all 4 exits. Ha ha ha. Seeing that the cave entrance was sealed, Wu Ming Crane could not help but throw his head back and laugh. Retribution. This is retribution. Fart. As he laughed maniacally, Wu Ming he spat out a mouthful of blood. Explode. Wu Ming he forcefully endured the pain coming from his entire body and shouted in a low voice. Fortunately, Nameless Crane was powerful and had a deep foundation. Otherwise, with his heart pierced through, there was no way he could have lasted until now. However, right after Wu Ming he said those words, his pupils shrank. With an expression of disbelief, he looked at Ning Yu, who had appeared before him. Thump. His body fell backwards. Wu Ming died on the spot. Even in death, Wu Ming Crane did not understand. Why would Ning Yu suddenly appear in front of him? However, he would never be able to find the answer to this question for the rest of his life. Shoo. As soon as Nameless Crane died, 2 figures darted out from the Red Demon Sword. Red Devil, Dark Emperor. Wu Ming was a peak Saint Immortal expert. He was ranked in the top 10,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Devouring them was even more effective than devouring General Dong. I can't believe it. Seeing the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil devouring Nameless Ning Yu could not help but curse. During the battle, they didn't put in much effort. Now that it was time to enjoy the fruits of their labor, each of them was faster than the other. Leave some for me, Ning Yu said hurriedly. Don't. Why are you fighting with us? The Dark Emperor hurriedly stood in front of Nameless and said, you already have a peerless medicinal pill. These small fries, don't fight with us for it. All right. Helplessly, Ning Yu spread his hands and said lightly, I was going to give you the corpse of a half-step heaven monarch realm heavenly demon. Since you want to devour this, I have no choice but to part with it. Go, don't delay us. What? Originally, the Dark Emperor wanted to urge Ning Yu to leave quickly. However, when he heard the words Heavenly Lord, he jumped on the spot. Compared to the corpse of a half-step heaven monarch, Wu Ming was nothing. Ning Yu, brother Yu, you said there was a Heavenly Lord corpse. Is that true? The Dark Emperor immediately abandoned Wu Ming and trotted to Ning Yu's side. He rubbed his head against Ning Yu and asked, I haven't had a taste of a Heavenly Lord. Can I have a taste? Bang! Ning Yu kicked the Dark Emperor's butt and sent him flying. Go play in the mud. Ning Yu rolled his eyes and said, with your small body, you won't be able to withstand the backlash of a half-step heaven monarch corpse if you don't advance to a Saint Immortal. All right, that's true. After some thought, the Dark Emperor felt that Ning Yu's words made sense. Unless he became a Saint Immortal, he wouldn't be able to withstand the backlash of a half-step heaven monarch corpse with his strength and toughness. You're still a peak peerless immortal if you don't cultivate properly. The Red Devil chuckled and changed the topic. I'm different. I've already become a Saint Immortal. However, Ning Yu was treating everyone the same. He kicked Hong Mo's butt and said, "Stop talking nonsense here. Hurry up and devour He Wuming. I'll give a half-step Heaven Monarch Realm Heavenly Devil Corpse to whoever advances to the Saint Immortal Intermediate stage first." "That's not fair." The Dark Emperor yelled, "I'm a peak Peerless Immortal while the Red Devil is an early stage Saint Immortal. He'll definitely reach mid-stage Saint Immortal first. You're the only one with so many problems." Ning Yu glared at the Dark Emperor before taking out 2 heavenly pills and tossing them to the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil. "I'll give each of you a heavenly pill. Get your asses into the Red Devil sword and cultivate." "That's more like it." The Dark Emperor leaped into the Red Devil sword after receiving the heavenly pill. As for the Red Devil, he swallowed the heavenly pill on the spot. Rumble. In an instant, a terrifying aura was emitted from the body of the Red Devil. Holy shit! Ning Yu's mouth gaped open in disbelief when he sensed the change in the Red Devil's aura. He'd only said it casually. He didn't expect the Red Devil to really reach mid-stage Saint Immortal. Holy shit! The Dark Emperor immediately leaped out of the Red Devil's sword and cried out when he sensed the Red Devil's advancement. Phew! The Red Devil let out a long breath and said, "I've reached mid-stage Saint Immortal. You should be able to give me a half-step Heaven Monarch corpse now, right?" "Alright, here you go." Ning Yu wasn't one to go back on his word. He walked up to the altar, took out the Heavenly Demon Tower, and brought out the 2 half-step Heaven Monarch corpses. "Devour the corpses in the Heavenly Demon Tower." Ning Yu looked at the Red Devil and reminded, "Remember, don't force it." "Understood." The Red Devil leapt up and directly entered the demonic tower. The Dark Emperor was envious when he saw the Red Devil entering the Heavenly Demon Tower. He, Ning Yu, and the Red Devil had always been on par when they were in the lower planes. However, the Red Devil and Ning Yu's strength skyrocketed after they reached the higher planes, leaving him in the dust. "Stop complaining, I'll help you refine the heavenly pill." Ning Yu kicked the Dark Emperor and said, "You're currently a peak Peerless Immortal. It's not suitable for you to break through to the Saint Immortal realm for now. Try to break through to the half-step Saint Immortal realm first." "No problem." The Dark Emperor immediately pulled himself together. Ning Yu would never forget him when he had something good. He understood Ning Yu's good intentions. Given his peak Peerless Immortal cultivation, it was true that he couldn't devour the corpse of a half-step Heaven Monarch. The Dark Emperor was very confident. Chapter 2270. Catcher. The Dark Emperor was not an indecisive dog. He sat cross-legged on the spot and swallowed the Heaven Pill. A crisp sound rang out. The Heaven Pill was chewed to pieces by the Dark Emperor. Kai Kai. The terrifying devouring power burst out from the Dark Emperor's body. Even if the Dark Emperor's devouring power was weak, the speed of refining the Heaven Pill was not too slow. At this speed, it was estimated that it would not take long for the Dark Emperor to completely refine the Heaven Pill. Swish. At the same time, Yang Ming had already contacted Hong Yu and told Hong Yu what happened inside. What? Hearing Yang Ming's story, Hong Yu's eyes widened, and her face was full of disbelief. Ning Yu was really killed? Hong Yu was extremely shocked. She was very clear about Ning Yu's strength. Even Yang Ming could escape. How could Ning Yu not escape? Yes, at that time, He Wuming used the Heaven Lord Talisman. Yang Ming nodded and sighed. Originally, Ning Yu could escape, but in order to save me, he had to die with He Wuming. As he said. Yang Ming also wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. It's a pity. Du Xiong looked solemn. He respected Ning Yu very much. If it weren't for Ning Yu, he might have become a victim. Now hearing Ning Yu's tragic death, deep in his heart, he sighed a little. Let's go. I promised Ning Yu that I must continue to fight with you. Yang Ming patted Du Xiong's shoulder and said, as long as I'm here, I will never let anyone hurt you. That's the only way. Du Xiong and Hong Yu looked at each other and saw a little helplessness in each other's eyes. Since they came to Xia Yun Valley, they definitely wanted to gain something. If they went back like this, no one would be willing. 2 more cannon fodder. No one noticed. Yang Ming's mouth raised slightly, and a sinister look appeared between his eyebrows. Whether it was Hong Yu or Du Shiyong, their strength was very strong. The danger in the depths of Cloud Valley was definitely great. At that time, with Du Shiyong and Hong Yu as his vanguard, he could save a lot of unnecessary trouble. Go. With both feet on the ground, Yang Ming led the many powerhouses of the Yang family into the depths of the Cloud Valley. Whoosh, whoosh. Behind Yang Ming, Du Shiyong and Hong Yu followed closely. Boom. After moving at full speed for about 15 minutes, suddenly, a huge stone pillar emerged from the ground and blocked Yang Ming's way. Seeing the huge stone pillar in front of him, Yang Ming raised his eyebrows. He faintly felt that something was wrong. Silence. It was unusually quiet. However, this kind of silence was unusual. There seemed to be some killing intent in the air. Stay alert. Yang Ming said in a deep voice. Du Shiyong, go to the front and move the stone pillar away. Why me? Du Shiyong's face changed, and he said coldly, you Yang family, whoosh. Before Du Shiyong could finish his words, Yang Ming's aura was suddenly released. The aura was abnormally vigorous, and it pressed down on Du Shiyong at a terrifying speed. Ka. Being oppressed by Yang Ming's aura, Du Shiyong knelt on the ground with an unusually angry expression. The crisp sound coming from his knees made Du Shiyong furious to the extreme. However, although he was furious, Du Shiyong didn't dare to really attack. After all, with his strength, even if he used all his trump cards, it was absolutely impossible for him to be Yang Ming's opponent. Are you going or not? Yang Ming raised the corner of his mouth and said gloomily, I will give you one last chance. If you miss this opportunity, there will be no, I'll go. Before Yang Ming finished his words, Du Shiyong said coldly, I will go and move the stone pillar away. That's right. Yang Ming shrugged. Dong, dong, dong. Du Shiyong moved his feet and walked toward the stone pillar step by step. Du Shiyong's speed was very slow. At this speed, it would take at least a minute to reach the stone pillar. However, Yang Ming didn't care at all. For him, as long as Du Shiyong was willing to approach the stone pillar, it was fine. In this way, he could explore the danger for him first. Catcher. However, as soon as Du Shiyong came to the stone pillar cracked. Swoosh. A cold gleam suddenly shot out from the stone pillar and rushed toward Du Shiyong. Not good. The sudden change made Du Shiyong's expression change drastically. Without much time to think, he immediately chose to retreat. Catcher. However, Du Shiyong's retreat speed was half a beat slower. In just an instant, Du Shiyong's right arm was chopped off by the cold gleam. Everyone, retreat. Yang Ming shouted hurriedly when he saw Du Shiyong's arm being chopped off. Catcher, catcher, catcher. However, even Du Shiyong couldn't escape the attack of the cold gleam, let alone those sage immortal level martial artists of the Yang family. A series of cracking sounds could be heard. Everyone from the Yang family was killed very quickly. Trash, hurry up and block the cold gleam for me. Seeing the tragic death of the Yang family, Yang Ming was so angry that his nose was crooked. He left Du Shiyong behind to block the disaster for the Yang family. But now, only Du Shiyong's arm was chopped off, but everyone from the Yang family died tragically. Such a change was clearly out of Yang Ming's expectations and it made him very unhappy. Humph. Du Shiyong snorted and quickly retreated. How powerful was the power of the cold gleam? Du Shiyong was not a fool. Previously, he was forced to approach the stone pillar. But now, the power of the cold gleam was so strong that even Yang Ming couldn't bear it. In this case, he would never risk his life to block the cold gleam. If you don't go, you will die. Yang Ming's face was cold to the extreme. Instead of blocking the cold gleam, he turned and rushed to Du Shiyong. Swish. The true energy in his body gathered on his fist, and he punched back at Du Shiyong. Boom. At the critical moment, Hong Yu made a move. He raised his right hand and punched Yang Ming's fist. When the two collided, Hong Yu and Yang Ming took a few steps back at the same time. Catcher, catcher. At this moment, in the broken stone pillar, two more cold gleams came out. It's over. Feeling the terrifying aura emanating from the two cold gleams, Yang Ming and Hong Yu were dumbfounded at the same time. The power of the cold gleam was powerful to the extreme. Yang Ming was not confident that he could block the cold gleam. Hong Yu was not confident that he could block the cold gleam. As for Du Shiyong, he was even less confident. Boom! The first martial artist who was hit by the cold gleam was Du Shiyong. Originally, Du Shiyong's right arm was chopped off. Now, even his left arm was chopped off. Next, Yang Ming and Hong Yu were both hit by the cold gleam. Their bodies flew a few feet away and fell heavily to the ground. Poochie! Poochie! Red blood spurted from their mouths. Yang Ming and Hong Yu's faces became abnormally pale. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Then, 3 figures gradually appeared from the void. General South, General North, General West. Seeing 3 slightly familiar figures, Hong Yu's face was completely gloomy. Chapter 2271. Among the 4 generals, the Eastern General was the weakest. Apart from General Dong, the other 3 generals were all ranked in the top 3,000 of the Heavenly Monarch substitute list. Not to mention 3 generals, even if only 1 general came, Hong Yu and the others would have a hard time dealing with them. Humph! You can't even block a few flies. General Nan glanced at Hong Yu and the others and snorted. General Dong is indeed a good-for-nothing. I think calling him trash is already praising him. General, she shrugged and said, General Dong didn't become a general because of his strength, but because of his connections. Hehe, to be honest, I really want to see General Dong's face. General Bei chuckled. All right, West General, North General, hurry up and get rid of these 3 pieces of trash. Heaven Lord Ku Ba is still waiting for us. General Nan waved his hand and said, whoosh, whoosh. As soon as General South's voice fell, General West and General North both attacked. Among them, the West General rushed to the Hong Yu, and the North General rushed to Yang Ming. As for General Nan, he stood still and did not move. In General Nan's opinion, he was not needed to deal with Hong Yu and Yang Ming. Let's fight. Seeing General Bei charging at him, Yang Ming gritted his teeth and took out a talisman on the spot. Heavenly Monarch Talisman. Without a doubt, Yang Ming also had the Heaven Monarch's talisman. Explode. With a low roar, the Heavenly Monarch Talisman exploded. Ha ha ha. Seeing General Bei get blasted by the Heaven Lord Talisman, Yang Ming couldn't help but laugh wildly. However, before Yang Ming was happy for long, his face turned gloomy again. Because he realized that after the aftermath of the explosion dissipated, General Bei was still standing in the same place, completely unharmed. You have completely infuriated me. General Bei twisted his neck and said coldly, originally, I only planned to refine you into a puppet. But now, I'm going to cut you into pieces and burn your essence spirit with blazing flames. I'll make you wish you were dead. Shio. As he spoke, General Bei stomped on the ground and quickly attacked. He could tell. General Bei was really angry. Fortunately, he had a life-saving trump card. Otherwise, it would be hard for him to withstand the aftermath of the Heaven Monarch Talisman's explosion. Bang! Bang! Here, General Bei was still entangled with Yang Ming. Over there, General Shi had already defeated his opponent. Hong Yu and Du Shiyong both fell to the ground, and their breaths became extremely weak. Let's kill them and save ourselves some trouble. General Nan frowned slightly and waved his hand. The Kuba heavenly residence has reached the most critical moment. I don't want to be disturbed. No problem. The first to respond to General Nan was General Bei. His right hand clenched into a fist, and his fist brought along a violent energy fluctuation. It landed precisely on Yang Ming's heart. Poochie. With his heart pierced, Yang Ming's body flew backward. Unable to withstand a single blow, General Bei twitched his mouth and said, when I get out, I'm going to challenge the Heaven Lord substitute list and see what my ranking is. Hehe, you are probably ranked at the 3000th place on the Lord of Heaven substitute list, but I am ranked at the 2000th place. General, she smiled faintly. His hands turned into a series of after-images and bombarded Du Shiyong and Hong Yu. Being hit by the fist shadow, Du Shiyong and Hong Yu retreated at the same time. Whoosh! Seeing that they were about to hit the stone wall, The void suddenly broke, and two figures emerged from the void. Ningyu. Hongmo. Ningyu caught Hongyu, and Hongmo caught Du Shiyong. The sudden change made General Nan frown, and his expression changed from playful to dignified. General Nan sensed an extremely terrifying aura from the thin martial artist. Not only the thin martial artist, but even the martial artist in red next to him exuded a terrifying aura. You, being hugged by Ningyu, Hongyu's eyes widened, and her face was full of disbelief. She would never have thought that Ningyu was not dead. What about me? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, this is for you. Go to the back and rest first. A heaven pill appeared in Ningyu's hand. Although she was puzzled, Hongyu knew that it was dangerous now, so she didn't ask. She took the heaven pill and retreated to the back. Gulp. Seeing the heaven pill in Hongyu's hand, Du Shiyong swallowed a mouthful of saliva. As an itinerant cultivator, it was not easy for Du Shiyong to cultivate to the peak of the Saint Immortal Realm and squeeze into the top 10,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute role. From head to toe, there was almost nothing precious on him. If it was anyone else, they would definitely not believe it. After all, no one would have imagined that a martial artist who had reached the peak of the Saint Immortal Realm was actually a pauper. Here. Ningyu casually threw a heaven pill to Du Shiyong and said indifferently, since you've already followed me, I'll definitely not treat you badly. Thank you. Du Shiyong thanked him hurriedly. How dare you? General Nan's expression was extremely cold as he said coldly, how dare you be so arrogant in front of me? You really don't know what's good for you. You said that I don't know what's good for me? Ningyu turned to look at General Nan and said calmly, peak of the Saint Immortal Realm, still some distance away from a half-step Heavenly Lord. If it was an hour ago, Ningyu might be afraid of General Nan. However, at this moment, Ningyu was fearless. The reason was, that was because he had improved further, and his strength had improved by leaps and bounds. There were 3 corpses in the altar. After the Red Fiend devoured one, his cultivation soared from the mid-stage Saint Immortal Realm to the peak of the Saint Immortal Realm. With the help of the Red Fiend sword, his strength could even squeeze into the top 5,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute role. As for the Dark Emperor, his cultivation advanced to the half-step Saint Immortal Realm after devouring the Heaven Pill. Of course. Among the 3 of them, the one who had the most terrifying improvement in strength was Ningyu. The Dark Emperor devoured the Heaven Pill, the Red Fiend devoured the corpse of a half-step Heavenly Lord, and Ningyu devoured the corpse of a Heavenly Lord. Although his cultivation was still at the half-step Saint Immortal Realm, Ningyu's strength was enough to squeeze into the top 100 of the Heavenly Lord substitute role. What did it mean to be in the top 100? It could be said that unless he encountered a true half-step Heavenly Lord, Ningyu's strength was enough to sweep through everything. Arrogant. Without waiting for General Nan's response, General Bei stomped on the ground and rushed towards Ningyu. Facing General Bei who was rushing over, Ningyu casually raised his right hand. Bang! In an instant, Ningyu's fist collided with General Nan's. After the 2 fists collided, a pig-like scream was heard. What? General Shi's eyes widened in shock when he saw the martial artist who screamed. If someone told General Shi that General Bei would lose a few minutes ago, he would probably fly into a rage. However, what happened now caused General Shi to turn pale with fright. Chapter 2272. You're finished. No one in this world can save you. General Shi clenched his fists and said angrily. Swoosh. Without any hesitation, General Shi dashed towards Ningyu at a terrifying speed. Swoosh. Swoosh. General Shi was so fast that he arrived in front of Ningyu in the blink of an eye. Go to hell. With a low shout, the energy in General Shi's body gathered in his fist, and he punched Ningyu's head with a backhand. General Shi was much more powerful than General Bei. General Bei was ranked around 3,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute role. However, General Shi was ranked in the top 2,000. Child's play. Ningyu's expression was as calm as an ancient well in the face of the Western general who was rushing over. He did not show any signs of panic. Ningyu would not be afraid even if General Nan attacked him personally, let alone General Shi. Bang! Ning Yu threw a punch at General Shi when he saw that he was in front of him. The punch did not seem very powerful. However, General Shi was sent flying and landed heavily on the ground. Fart! General Shi spat out a mouthful of blood and his aura dropped from the peak Saint Immortal to the early stage Saint Immortal. Moreover, it continued to drop. You. What did you do to me? General Shi pointed at Ning Yu and asked in fear when he felt the energy in his body dropping rapidly. Nothing much. I just left something in your body. Ning Yu shrugged and said calmly. General Shi was a peerless heavenly demon ranked in the top 2,000 on the Heavenly Lord substitute roll. The benefits of devouring him would be great. Therefore, when he was exchanging blows with General Shi, Ning Yu secretly injected a powerful devouring force into General Shi's body. Ning Yu could devour General Shi easily with the devouring force. I'm going to turn you into ashes. General Shi shouted angrily. What are you shouting for? Ning Yu rolled his eyes and said disdainfully, you want to grind my bones and scatter my ashes with your meager strength. I admit that you are very strong. At this moment, General Nan took a step forward and said in a deep voice, but your strength is not qualified to be arrogant for the time being. Whether I have the qualifications to be arrogant or not, won't you know once you come and try? Ning Yu raised his eyebrows and said, Humph. I'll let you show off for now. I'll deal with you later. General Nan let out a cold snort and immediately turned to the depths of the Cloud Valley. Whoosh, whoosh. Seeing General Nan leave, General Bei and General Shi's expressions changed, and they hurriedly followed. However, how could Ning Yu allow them to leave? With a flash, Ning Yu immediately tore the void and appeared in front of General Nan in the blink of an eye. Clenching his right hand into a fist, he punched with a violent Shen-Chi gale, precisely hitting General Nan's chest. After image. It was only for a moment. Ning Yu realized that something was wrong. General Nan's original body had long disappeared. What was left behind was only an afterimage. We'll meet again. An extremely cold voice sounded in Ning Yu's ears. Interesting. Ning Yu stabilized his body and floated in the air. He had to say it. General Nan's actions indeed shocked Ning Yu. After thinking about it, Ning Yu turned around and said, leave General Shi and General Bei for me to devour. Just now, when Ning Yu went to kill General Nan, the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil made a move respectively and killed General Shi and General Bei. Under normal circumstances, the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil would definitely not be a match for the two generals. However, the current General Shi and General Bei had suffered heavy injuries and were already in a dying state. Against this kind of sky demon, not to mention the Dark Emperor, even a random Saint Immortal powerhouse could kill them. All right. The Dark Emperor and the Red Devil spread their hands helplessly. Since Ning Yu wanted it, they naturally couldn't refuse. Don't look so sad, take these 2 heaven pills and swallow them. Ning Yu casually threw 2 heaven pills to the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil, and said, go to the other side to swallow, don't disturb me. Hehe, I definitely won't disturb you. The Dark Emperor and the Red Devil chuckled, then each took a heaven pill and went to the other side to cultivate in seclusion. However, the place where the 2 of them went into seclusion happened to be the place where Yang Ming died tragically. Kai. Ning Yu looked at the corpses of General Shi and General Bei and suddenly extended his right hand and placed it on their foreheads. A terrifying devouring power surged out and crazily devoured the energy in the 2 generals' bodies. Originally, Ning Yu didn't plan to personally devour General Shi and General Bei. His plan was to give the 2 generals to the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil. However, when he realized that General Nan was extremely powerful, he immediately changed his mind. Although he could be ranked in the top 100 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list, it was far from enough. As expected. The next time he met General Nan, his cultivation would definitely increase to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. How powerful was a half-step Heavenly Lord? Even if Ning Yu could be ranked in the top 100 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list, he didn't have the confidence to defeat General Nan who had advanced to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. Therefore, Ning Yu's idea was to improve his strength as soon as possible. Tick, tick. Time passed, minute by minute. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Boom! A terrifying aura burst out from Ningyu's body and soared into the sky. Gulp! Feeling the aura emanating from Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, the Red Devil, Hongyu, and Du Shiyong next to him all opened their mouths slightly, their faces full of disbelief. Especially Hongyu, the shock on her face had reached its peak. When she met Ningyu for the first time, Hongyu thought that Ningyu could be ranked in the top 100 of all the geniuses in the Kungsu territory. But as time went by, she felt that she was wrong, very wrong. Until now, she was still not very sure how strong Ningyu was. Ningyu's strength should be ranked in the top 1000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list, right? Du Shiyong swallowed a mouthful of saliva and wondered. Top 100? Humph. You may have misunderstood Ningyu's strength. Hongyu snorted and said, just now, Ningyu easily defeated General Shi and General Bei, which means that his strength has reached the top 1500 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. If I guessed correctly, Ningyu's strength should be ranked in the top 800 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Puff. Hearing the first half of Hongyu's words, Ningyu thought that she was praising him. But when he heard the second half, he couldn't help but laugh. Top 800 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. When he first met General Nan and the others, his strength had reached the top 100. Now that he had devoured General Shi and General Bei, his strength had improved a lot. If he went to challenge the Heavenly Lord substitute list now, he might be able to enter the top 90. One should not underestimate the improvement of these 10 ranks. The strength of the peerless geniuses in the top 100 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list was worlds apart. What are you laughing at? Hongyu heard Ningyu's laughter. Chapter 2273. Yes, you're right. My strength should be able to rank in the top 800 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list. Ningyu nodded and said seriously, you're not very strong, so you'll have to listen to my instructions in the following actions. Who wants to listen to you? Hongyu rolled her eyes and then walked toward the depths of Xie Yun Valley. Boom. However, just as Hongyu passed by Yang Ming's body, something happened. Yang Ming, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly stood up and punched at Hongyu with a violent immortal qi. Yang Ming's punch contained the strength of his absolute life. It could be said that even the peerless heavenly demons in the top 3000 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list might not be able to block it. Hongyu wasn't even in the top 5000 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list. In this case, unless she used her last trump card, she would only be greeted with death. Swish. At the critical moment, a shadow suddenly appeared. Crack. His right hand clenched into a fist and punched out. It hit Yang Ming's fist without any deviation. The two collided. A crisp sound was heard. Then, Yang Ming's body flew straight back and fell heavily to the ground. You. Yang Ming raised his head with difficulty and looked at Ningyu in disbelief. He couldn't imagine it in any way. Such a perfect sneak attack was discovered by Ningyu in advance and he responded to it. What about you? Ningyu said indifferently, because of your stupidity, I'll remember the Yang family of Zilan Weave. Puff. As Ningyu's voice fell, the crowd was shocked. Yang Ming's head tilted and he died on the spot. Swish. Swish. As soon as Yang Ming died, Hongyu and the Dark Emperor rushed out, for fear that Ningyu would fight with them. I'm speechless. Ningyu shrugged, expressing his helplessness. His strength could already be ranked in the top 80 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list. Even if he devoured Yang Ming, his strength wouldn't improve much. Instead of this, it was better to give Yang Ming to the Dark Emperor and the Red Devil. Well, Ningyu, I want to ask about the corpse of the half-step Lord of Heaven in the altar. At this moment. Hongyu came to Ningyu and said hesitantly, can you give him to me? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and looked at Hongyu with interest. Give me a reason. I really need a Skyfiend corpse. Hongyu's eyes flickered, and she finally said, if I can't bring back a powerful heavenly demon's corpse, then my parents may encounter an accident. Don't worry, I won't let you suffer. Seeing that Ningyu did not answer her, Hongyu hurriedly said, Heaven pill, I also have a heaven pill. During the conversation, Hongyu reached deep into her arms and took out a blue jade bottle. Hiss. As soon as Hongyu took out the blue jade bottle, Ningyu gasped. Obviously, inside the blue jade bottle, there was a heaven pill. However, it was not a lower heaven pill, but a genuine heaven pill. How could Ningyu not be shocked? The lower heaven pill could make the geniuses in the top 5,000 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list have continuous energy. And the heaven pill had the same effect on the martial artists in the top 100 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list. After killing He Wuming, Ningyu got a lot of lower heaven pills from him. Originally, Ningyu thought that these lower heaven pills were enough for him to use for a while. Who would have thought that his strength improved too fast, causing the lower heaven pill to lose its effect on him? You really know how to do business. Ningyu said, a half-step Lord of Heaven level Heavenly Demon's corpse is worth 10 heaven pills, and there is only one heaven pill in your blue jade bottle. Exchanging a heaven pill for a half-step Lord of Heaven level Heavenly Demon's corpse? Unless Ningyu was a fool, he would never agree. I know this is far from enough. Hongyu bit her lip and said, in addition to a heaven pill, I can promise you 3 requests. Any request? Ningyu raised his eyebrows, looked at Hongyu, and said with an evil smile, what if it's that kind of request? You. Hongyu's face turned crimson. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. But thinking of her parents' experience, she had to bite the bullet and said, any request, even if it's that kind of request, it's okay. Well, since you have said this, it's not right if I don't give you the body of the half-step Lord of Heaven. Ningyu shrugged and then threw the body of the half-step Lord of Heaven to Hongyu. Of course. When the body flew to Hongyu, Ningyu's voice sounded. The first of the 3 requests, from now until 3 months later, you have to listen to my orders unconditionally. You have to do what I tell you to do. The second request, when you see me in the future, you have to smile, don't put on a bitter face. As for the third request, speaking of this, Ningyu paused a little and looked at Hongyu with interest. Being stared at by Ningyu, Hongyu's cheeks turned red again. The third request is very simple, just 3 more requests. Ningyu said lightly. Poochie. Hearing Ningyu's request, the Dark Emperor and Hong Mo next to him laughed on the spot. This is too shameless. Isn't it? Your first request has already crossed the line. Now you made a third unreasonable request, how could Hongyu live? Could it be that? Want to control Hongyu for the rest of her life? Not only the Dark Emperor and Hong Mo thought so, but even Hongyu herself also thought so. Her face turned from crimson to pale. After all, anyone who heard such an unreasonable request from Ningyu would feel angry. I'm just kidding. Ningyu touched his nose and said, I only have one request, that is to give me the bead on you. Bead? Hongyu was stunned at first, then her face changed greatly. She did have a bead on her. However, that bead was a life-saving item given to her by her uncle. If she gave it to Ningyu, wouldn't that mean that she would lose something that could save her life? After struggling for a while, Hongyu said, I can give you the bead, but you have to promise not to destroy it. No problem. Ningyu nodded in agreement. Swish. Hearing Ningyu's promise, Hongyu flicked her wrist and threw out a blood-red bead. Crack. However, just as the bead flew in front of Ningyu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched it into pieces. I. You. Hongyu's mouth was wide open, her face full of disbelief. Crack, crack, crack. After the surprise, she clenched her fists tightly, making a cracking sound. At this moment, she was very angry, extremely angry. One must know that the red bead was given to her by her uncle. She did not regard it as a life-saving magic treasure, but as a kind of sustenance. Now that it was destroyed by Ningyu, how could she not be angry? Swoosh. However. Chapter 2274. Not good. The sudden change made Hongyu's face change. She was not weak, so she could naturally find the terrible energy contained in the cold light. In her current state, if she was hit by the cold light, she would be disabled even if she did not die. Ningyu. Hongyu retreated while looking at Ningyu incredulously and exclaimed, what the hell is going on? Hong Yu couldn't understand. Why was it that after the red bead her uncle had given her shattered, a blood-colored cold light would shoot out and attack her? She knew. Not only her, but also Ningyu, the Dark Emperor, Hong Mo, and Du Shiyong. If she did not absolutely trust Ningyu, she would probably think that the blood-colored cold light was done by Ningyu. Where are you going? Ningyu did not answer Hong Yu's words. He growled, and immediately the energy in his body wrapped around his fist, and he punched back. Boom! In a split second. The fist light and the blood-colored cold light collided. Suddenly, blood splashed everywhere. Swoosh! However, at the moment when the blood-colored cold light dissipated, a Heavenly Lord's talisman suddenly appeared. Pa! Ningyu grabbed the Heavenly Lord's talisman firmly in his hand before it exploded. Who? After controlling the Heavenly Lord's talisman, Ningyu took a long breath and showed a look of relief. Fortunately. Until now, Ningyu still had some fear. Fortunately, the first target of the Heavenly Lord's talisman was Hong Yu, not him. Otherwise, even if he tried his best, he might not be able to subdue the Heavenly Lord's talisman. There was no other reason. This Heavenly Lord's talisman was completely different from the one taken out by Yang Ming and Crane Wuming. Yang Ming and Crane Wuming's Heavenly Lord's talisman might be able to fight against the top 1,000 powerhouses on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. However, the power of this Heavenly Lord's talisman was enough to kill the peerless Avildor ranked in the top 50 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Hong Yu was stunned, and her eyes were dull. She had figured it out. The red bead was a life-saving magic treasure given to her by her uncle. Obviously, his life-saving magic treasure had been tampered with. As for whether he was her uncle or not, that remained to be seen. However, there was one thing that was certain. There was a mole in the Hong family of the brilliant void weave. I must get to the bottom of this. Hong Yu clenched his fists, and his face was extremely cold. As the saying went, when a woman was angry, it was exceptionally terrifying. Hong Yu's current appearance was extremely terrifying. Don't even think about finding out. Even if your strength doubled, it would still be useless. Ningyu accepted the Heaven Monarch talisman as a matter of course and said indifferently, "Your opponent is far more terrifying than you can imagine." Hong Yu was stunned at first, then asked, "How terrible is it?" "It's scarier than the corpse I gave you," Ningyu said. Hiss. Hearing this, Hong Yu gasped directly. Stronger than a half-step Heaven Monarch realm heavenly demon? Didn't that mean that her opponent was a Lord of Heaven? Hundreds of thousands of years ago, there was indeed a Lord of Heaven in the Hong family. However, since the end of the human-demon war tens of thousands of years ago, the Lord of Heaven of the Hong family had also disappeared. Could it be that the Lord of Heaven of the Hong family was still alive? What are you thinking about? Hurry up and get ready to go deeper into the Xia Yun Valley with me. Ningyu patted Hong Yu on the shoulder and said, "This place is about to collapse. If we don't go now, the consequences will be unimaginable." Collapse? Hong Yu was puzzled. If I'm not mistaken, in the deepest part of the Xia Yun Valley, Lord of Heaven Ku Ba has already started to take action. Ningyu explained, once Lord of Heaven Ku Ba takes away all the heavenly demon corpses in the Xia Yun Valley, the entire Xia Yun Valley will completely collapse. Swish. Hong Yu's expression changed slightly. She hurriedly took out a crystal ball from her bosom and crushed it. Crack. After the crystal ball was broken, Hong Yu said in a deep voice, "I have informed the bald martial artist outside the Xia Yun Valley. As soon as we leave, he will come to our rescue." "No problem." Ningyu shrugged and immediately jumped up. He was the first to rush into the depths of the Xia Yun Valley. Although the bald martial artist's strength was not too strong, Ningyu understood the principle of ants biting an elephant to death. After many powerful heavenly demons entered the Xia Yun Valley, those heavenly demons in the evil spirit battlefield would definitely seek refuge with the bald martial artist. At that time, thousands of heavenly demons would attack together. Even the peerless genius ranked in the top 50 of the Lord of Heaven substitute list would have to think twice. "I'm going to wait for you. Wait for me." Seeing Ningyu leave, the Dark Emperor couldn't help but swear. He and Hong Yu swallowed Yang Ming quickly, then they sped up and left behind Ningyu. "No matter who you are, In short, I must find you. Hong Yu's expression was cold. She stomped her feet, and her figure flashed as she chased after them. Swish. With Ning Yu taking the lead, the Dark Emperor, Hong Yu, Du Shiyong, and Hong Yu following behind, they advanced rapidly. After walking for about 10 minutes, a small river suddenly appeared in front of them. Illusion? Ning Yu stared at the river, his brows furrowed. This river is real, it's not an illusion. The Dark Emperor straightened his head and looked at the river. He said doubtfully, Ning Yu, is your head rusty? You can even misjudge this. Get lost. Ning Yu kicked the Dark Emperor's butt, causing him to fall to the ground. Plop. The Dark Emperor swam like a dog paddle in the small river, having a great time. Why don't you let me try? Hong Yu saw through it more clearly. He stared at the forest on the other side of the river and said, I'm a sword spirit. This level of illusion shouldn't be difficult for me. Ning Yu shook his head slowly and said, you still underestimated this illusion. Underestimated? Hong Yu was slightly startled and said in confusion, that forest should be an illusion. What do you mean by saying that I underestimated it? Look again. Ning Yu waved his right hand gently in front of Hong Yu and pointed at the forest once more. Hong Yu's gaze shifted to the forest. This glance caused Hong Yu's expression to change drastically. The original forest had long disappeared without a trace. In exchange, it was a boundless desert. It is indeed extraordinary. Hong Yu's expression turned extremely solemn. He admitted that he had indeed underestimated the illusion. If not for Ning Yu's reminder, he would have definitely fallen into the illusion. What do we do now? Hong Yu hesitated. You guys enter the Red Demon Sword. I'll go alone. Ning Yu said. No, I can't let you take the risk. Hong Yu said in a deep voice, your strength is at the forefront. If even you fall into it, then all of us will die. Then what do you think we should do? Ning Yu looked at Hong Yu and said calmly. For now, it was best for him to explore the illusory realm. As for Hong Yu, Dark Emperor, Du Shiyong, and the others, they were all useless. To be honest, asking them to explore the illusion was no different from sending them to their deaths. Hong Yu was speechless. She really didn't have a good idea. Isn't that enough? You guys enter the storage ring first. Ning Yu waved his hand and said indifferently, when I break through the illusion, I will naturally let you guys out. Chapter 2275. Swoosh. The first person to enter the Red Devil Sword was the Dark Emperor. He leaped out of the small river and entered the Red Demon Sword. Swoosh. Swoosh. After that, the Red Devil and Du Shiyong entered the Red Devil Sword. Be careful. The last person to enter the Red Devil Sword was Hong Yu. She reminded Ning Yu before stepping onto the ground and entering the Red Demon Sword. After keeping the Red Devil Sword, Ning Yu took a deep breath and walked towards the river. Ning Yu seemed to be walking very slowly, but he was actually very fast. He took only 1 second to cross the river. Swoosh. As soon as Ning Yu crossed the river, there was a sudden change. The illusion of a desert changed again, turning into a huge mountain. Open. Ning Yu clenched his right hand into a fist and punched out with a violent Yuan Qi gale. Crack, crack, crack. Under Ning Yu's attack, the mountain cracked open, and a huge crack appeared in the middle. General Nan, go and see what's going on the other side of the mountain. An old man in a grey robe frowned and waved his hand. Why is the illusion I set up loosening? Yes. General Nan responded and immediately flew toward the mountain. If anyone was there, they would have noticed that there were many graves opposite the old man in a grey robe. There was a talisman on each grave. Heavenly Lord Talisman. It was obvious that the talismans on the graves were terrifying Heavenly Lord talismans. These useless things are all dead, but they still left me a problem. The old man in a grey robe was none other than Heavenly Lord Kuba. He stared at the graves with a cold expression and said fiercely, I originally wanted to leave your corpses intact and only devour the energy in the corpses. It seems like there's no need for that now. As soon as Heavenly Lord Kuba finished speaking, he dashed toward the tomb closest to him. Smack. He stretched out his right hand and grabbed the Heavenly Lord talisman. Such a weak Heavenly Lord talisman. It seems like you weren't much when you were alive. Heavenly Lord Kuba curled his lips. He lifted his right leg and stomped hard on the grave. Catcher. A clear and crisp sound rang out. The Skyfiend's corpse in the tomb was crushed to pieces. I didn't guess it wrong. A half-step Lord of Heaven trash. The devouring power in Heavenly Lord Kuba's body was unleashed. In an instant, it devoured all the heavenly fiend corpses in the tomb. Whoosh! After devouring a heavenly demon's corpse, Heavenly Lord Kuba did not stop. He continued to devour the second heavenly demon's corpse. Rumble. Meanwhile, on the other side, General Nan had crossed the mountain and faced Ningyu. There's a path to heaven, but you don't want to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. General Nan stared coldly at Ningyu and said fiercely, I'll give you a chance to live. Surrender, kneel down and kowtow to me, Shio. Without waiting for General Nan to finish the word kowtow, Ningyu leaped up and punched at General Nan. If you want to fight, then fight. Why talk so much nonsense? Ningyu had already sensed the terrifying energy fluctuations on the other side of the mountain. Therefore, he had to get rid of General Nan as soon as possible. Of course, the solution Ningyu had in mind was not to kill General Nan, but to control him. No matter how arrogant Ningyu was, he was not so arrogant that he could compete with a Heavenly Lord. For him, if he wanted to get close to Heavenly Lord Kuba, he had to control General Nan. He had to make use of General Nan to get close to Heavenly Lord Kuba, then attack unexpectedly and severely injure Heavenly Lord Kuba. You're courting death. Looking at Ningyu, who was constantly approaching him, General Nan's face was gloomy and his fist met Ningyu's. Bang! The two collided. Ningyu didn't move from his spot, but General Nan retreated several feet before he could stabilize himself. This move. General Nan was defeated, and it was a complete defeat. How could you become so strong? General Nan's face was full of disbelief. One had to know. With the help of Heavenly Lord Kuba, his cultivation had advanced to the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. At this time, if he went to challenge the Heavenly Lord substitute list, he could at least be ranked 150th. Originally, he thought that this ranking was enough to kill Ningyu. However, after fighting with Ningyu, he knew that he was wrong, very wrong. Not only had his strength increased, but Ningyu's strength had also increased. Are you the only one allowed to become stronger, and I am not allowed to become stronger? Ningyu rolled his eyes and said, I am too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Now I will give you a choice, surrender to me, or I will let you die a horrible death. You want me to surrender to you? Ha ha ha. General Nan raised his head and laughed wildly. His laughter was very arrogant. Swoosh. However, while General Nan was laughing wildly, Ningyu flicked his finger and a lump entered General Nan's throat into his abdomen. Cough. General Nan's face changed drastically, and he hurriedly dug his throat with his hand. At the same time, he wanted to force the lump out of his body. Helpless. No matter how hard General Nan tried, it didn't have the slightest effect. What the hell did you do to me? General Nan was furious and roared, hurry up and give me the antidote. Otherwise, I will tell Heavenly Lord Kuba and let him turn your bones into ashes. Save some strength, I will give you a chance to live now, open your mind and let me control you. General Nan's face was gloomy. He was not sure what the lump was. For now, I will beat you at your own game. After pondering for a moment, General Nan gritted his teeth and said, I can open my mind, but you have to, you are not qualified to negotiate with me. Ningyu said indifferently, either open your mind or die. All right, General Nan said in a deep voice, I will open my mind, I hope you have the ability to control me. You don't have to worry about this for the time being. The soul force in Ningyu's body surged, and with an extremely terrifying speed, he rushed towards General Nan. Swish. In the blink of an eye, the soul force arrived in front of General Nan and entered his sea of consciousness. Ha ha ha. Feeling Ningyu's soul force entering his sea of consciousness, General Nan laughed wildly again. What the hell are you laughing at? Ningyu felt that General Nan was a little silly and cute. Didn't he know that General Nan would play tricks? The sole force he used to enter General Nan's sea of consciousness was just a fake to attract General Nan's attention. Swish. As for himself, while General Nan was laughing, he suddenly came in front of him and punched him in the chest. Poochie. The huge force from his chest made General Nan spit out a mouthful of red blood. A force entered General Nan's chest and stayed in his heart. What? General Nan was shocked. His pupils shrank, and his face was full of horror. In any case, he could never have thought that Ningyu would do this. But now, his plan failed, and Ningyu completely controlled him. Very good. Chapter 2276. You will never know how powerful a heavenly lord is. General Nan gritted his teeth and said, even if I take you close to Heavenly Lord Kubiye, he will definitely find out. You don't have to worry about that, Ningyu said calmly. Okay, I hope you don't regret it. General Nan's face was cold as he turned around and led the way. As General Nan moved forward, the illusory mountain disappeared completely and turned into a flat road. Ningyu did not hesitate and followed General Nan. Swish. The illusory realm was indeed an illusory realm. When Ningyu first entered, it was still a flat road. But when he moved forward for a distance, the flat road disappeared completely and was replaced by a cave. Walking in the cave, Ningyu was highly focused and paid close attention to the changes around him. He moved forward slowly for about 10 minutes. General Nan stopped. What's going on? Ningyu frowned and wondered. Through the barrier in front, you can see Heavenly Lord Kubiye. General Nan pointed to the transparent barrier not far away and said, if you don't want to die, I advise you not to sneak attack Heavenly Lord Kubiye. Swish. Ningyu did not talk too much with General Nan. His figure flickered and directly turned into an afterimage, drilling into General Nan's body. Sigh. With a sigh, General Nan moved his feet and walked directly towards the transparent barrier. In fact, General Nan really did not want Ningyu to hide in his body. Because once Heavenly Lord Kubiye found out, he would definitely die. However, since things had come to this, General Nan had no choice but to bite the bullet. The barrier might be an obstacle for others, but it had no effect on General Nan at all. It did not take long for General Nan to pass through the barrier and arrive in front of the tomb where Heavenly Lord Kubiye was. Heavenly Lord Kubiye was collecting the Heavenly Lord talisman and devouring the heavenly demon's corpse in the tomb. The sudden appearance of General Nan was a little unexpected to him. Have you investigated it? Giving up on collecting the Heavenly Lord talisman and the heavenly demon's corpse, Heavenly Lord Kubiye turned to look at General Nan and asked, who is destroying my illusory realm? It's a human warrior. General Nan answered honestly. Pa. Hearing that, Heavenly Lord Kubiye's figure flashed and slapped General Nan's cheek. Trash. I also know that it's a human martial artist. Let me ask you, who is the one causing destruction? Heavenly Lord Kuba scolded with a cold expression. Ningyu of the brilliant void territory. General Nan's eyes were a little flustered, and he hurriedly said, Ningyu is insidious and cunning. Lord Heavenly Lord must be careful. Obviously, General Nan was reminding Heavenly Lord Kuba. Even though he believed in Heavenly Lord Kubiye's abilities, he didn't want Heavenly Lord Kubiye to be killed by Ningyu's sneak attack. Ningyu. Are they the ones who killed General Shi and the others? Heavenly Lord Kuba asked. Yes, it's him. General Nan said. Go watch over the illusion for me. Without my permission, don't let anyone in. Frowning slightly, Heavenly Lord Kubiye waved his hand and said, if a human martial artist comes in, I'll chop off your head. Yes. General Nan responded, then turned around and was about to leave. Wait. At this moment, Heavenly Lord Kubiye said again, this Heavenly Lord talisman is for you. If you catch them off guard, you can injure a Heavenly Lord expert. Swoosh. While speaking, Heavenly Lord Kubiye threw a Heavenly Lord talisman to General Nan. Pa. After taking the Heavenly Lord talisman, General Nan wasn't happy. Instead, he looked bitter. What's wrong? Heavenly Lord Kubiye was puzzled. No, nothing. I'm just happy. General Nan forced a smile and said, "Humph." Heavenly Lord Kubi-e snorted and said in a deep voice, "Tell me the truth." Okay. General Nan hesitated for a while and finally said, "Ningyu is very powerful. Even if I go all out, I can't kill him." Swoosh. Swoosh. Heavenly Lord Kubi-e flicked his wrist and threw another 3 Heavenly Lord talismans to General Nan. As long as Ningyu isn't a Heavenly Lord, these 3 talismans can definitely kill him. Heavenly Lord Kubi-e said coldly. "Thank you, Heavenly Lord." General Nan quickly bowed and thanked him. However, General Nan's expression still didn't look very happy. "Hurry up and get lost. Don't delay me from collecting the Heavenly Demon's corpse." After throwing out the 3 Heavenly Lord talismans, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e kicked General Nan's butt and said indifferently, "You have 2 tasks. The first is to guard the illusion for me. The second is to gather all the heavenly demons in the evil spirit battlefield. Wait for me to devour all the heavenly demons inside and use them to refine an evil technique." Swoosh. However, as soon as Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's right foot touched General Nan's butt, there was a sudden change. A shadow suddenly rushed out of General Nan's body and rushed toward him at an extremely terrifying speed. What the hell is that? The sudden change was obviously out of Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's expectation. He let out a low roar and quickly retreated. Explode. However, in the process of Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's retreat, the shadow directly detonated the 4 Heavenly Lord talismans in General Nan's hand. Rumble. An extremely terrifying shockwave spread out in all directions in this area. I can't accept this. Facing the explosion of the 4 Heavenly Lord talismans, General Nan was almost unable to resist and was blasted into pieces. On the other hand, Ningyu and Heavenly Lord Kubi-e. As Ningyu was already prepared, his injuries were the lightest and he was basically uninjured. As for Heavenly Lord Kubi-e, he was in the center of the explosion and his injuries were not light. Damn it. Feeling the change in the aura in his body, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e cursed. At this moment, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e could be said to be extremely angry. He didn't expect that he would be deceived by General Nan. If it wasn't for General Nan, he would definitely not be injured. "You're Ningyu." Taking a deep breath, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e tried to calm himself down. He looked at Ningyu coldly and said in a deep voice, "Surrender and be my slave, and I can consider letting you go. If you asked me to be your slave previously, I might have considered it. But now, you're far from qualified." Ningyu shrugged and said, "If I'm not wrong, your current combat power should be less than 10% of your peak." Humph. So what if it's 10%? It's still easy to kill you. Heavenly Lord Kubi-e snorted. "Haha, who doesn't know how to brag? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue?" Ningyu moved his arm slightly and hid the remaining Heavenly Lord talisman in his sleeve. Ningyu was very self-aware. With his current combat power, even if Heavenly Lord Kubi-e only had 10% of his peak strength left, he still couldn't fight against him. That was because Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's current strength could still be ranked in the top 50 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. For now, there was only one plan. Chapter 2277. You seem to be very confident. Heavenly Lord Kuba regained his composure. He crossed his arms in front of his chest and said calmly, "I have at least a dozen Heavenly Lord talismans and many other life-saving Dharma treasures. Unless you're also a Heavenly Lord, killing you will be as easy as killing a dog." Heavenly Lord Kuba was naturally confident. As a Heavenly Lord, he could go home and sell sweet potatoes if he was scared by a half-step sacred immortal. "I know you're a Heavenly Lord and I admit that you're very powerful." Ningyu's eyes flickered. "However, I want to tell you something bad. There are 2 Heavenly Lords outside the evil spirit battlefield. Are you trying to scare me?" Heavenly Lord Kuba said coldly. "I've been on the battlefield for tens of thousands of years. I'm not scared. It's up to you whether you believe me or not." Ningyu spread his hands. "This is your last chance. Surrender or die." Heavenly Lord Kuba took a step forward and said, "I don't want to surrender or die." Ningyu said calmly, Swoosh. Heavenly Lord Kuba threw out a Heavenly Lord talisman as soon as Ningyu finished his sentence. Explode. Heavenly Lord Kuba shouted in a low voice. The Heavenly Lord talisman exploded on the spot. Fortunately, Ningyu had been paying attention to Heavenly Lord Kuba's actions. Otherwise, he would not be able to dodge the explosion of the Heavenly Lord talisman. Swoosh. Heavenly Lord Kuba attacked again when he saw that his attack did not succeed. He clenched his right fist and punched toward Ningyu's head with violent energy. Fight. Ningyu clenched his teeth as he looked at Heavenly Lord Kuba who was approaching him. He gathered all the immortal chi in his body on his fist and threw a backhand punch that collided with Heavenly Lord Kuba's fist. Bang! The two collided. Ningyu quickly retreated. As for Heavenly Lord Kuba, he stood still on the spot. In comparison, Ningyu was completely at a disadvantage. Not bad, Yi Zichen said. Heavenly Lord Kuba took out an elixir and popped it into his mouth as he said sinisterly, "Fortunately, I've prepared a lot of things. Otherwise, I might really fail miserably today." Heavenly Lord Kuba felt very lucky. The reason why he set up the illusory array was to prevent people from disturbing him. After all, in the process of devouring the heavenly demon's corpse, he had to divide a lot of energy to manage the energy in his body. That energy was more complex, even mixed with the resentment of the heavenly demons, it needed to be slowly refined. Otherwise, with just 4 heaven monarch talismans, how was it possible to compress his strength to 10%? Heavenly Lord Kuba had prepared a lot of elixirs because he had anticipated that there would be resentful energy. Amongst them, he had prepared no less than 100 heavenly pills. What kind of concept was 100 heavenly pills? The culmination elixir could instantly replenish the energy in the bodies of experts ranked around 100 on the Heaven Monarch substitute list. However, the Heaven elixir had a miraculous effect on Heaven Monarch realm expert. Catcher. When Heavenly Lord Kuba devoured the Heaven elixir, Ningyu also took out a culmination elixir and threw it into his mouth. When the culmination elixir entered his stomach, the energy that Ningyu had consumed was instantly replenished. Competing with me in elixirs? Heavenly Lord Kuba shook the jade bottle in his hand and said faintly, "I will let you die a horrible death." As soon as he said die, Heavenly Lord Kuba rose from the ground and rushed towards Ningyu again. This time, Heavenly Lord Kuba did not hold back at all. In order to kill Ningyu in one move, he did not hesitate to burn his blood essence to increase his combat power. In fact, Heavenly Lord Kuba was very clear. His current strength could be ranked around 50 on the Heaven Monarch substitute list, while Ningyu could be ranked around 80. Although he was 30 ranks higher than Ningyu, as he had to deal with the resentful energy in his body, his overall combat power was comparable to Ningyu. Under such circumstances, his only chance to win was to compete with Ningyu in terms of elixirs. Rumble. Just as Heavenly Lord Kuba was about to launch his second attack, a sudden change happened. A huge grave in the distance suddenly split open. Swoosh. A huge skeleton came out of the grave. Gasp. Sensing the aura emitted from the huge skeleton, Ningyu and Heavenly Lord Kuba gasped at the same time. They could basically conclude that the cultivation of this skeleton was at least at the peak of the early stage Heaven Monarch. Heavenly Lord Kuba was only the weakest Heaven Monarch. Among the heavenly demons, there were many heavenly monarchs who were more powerful than Heavenly Lord Kuba. Damn it! Heavenly Lord Kuba cursed in his heart. His face was extremely gloomy. The skeleton's current strength should be in the top 30 on the Heaven Monarch substitute list. Originally, Heavenly Lord Kuba could easily kill it. But now, he could only choose to retreat. Anger, unwillingness, and despair filled Heavenly Lord Kuba's mind. Ningyu, you and I are irreconcilable. Heavenly Lord Kuba roared at Ningyu. Then, he turned his head and wanted to leave. Crack. How could the skeleton allow Heavenly Lord Kuba to leave? He took a step forward and appeared in front of Heavenly Lord Kuba. You are a heavenly demon. This body is just right for me to stay in temporarily. The skeleton's body spun rapidly and went into Heavenly Lord Kuba's body under his desperate gaze. Crack. Crack, crack, crack. It fused with Heavenly Lord Kubi-e. The skeleton twisted its body and made cracking sounds. Why? Although the skeleton went into his body, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e did not die immediately. He let out an angry roar and struggled to drive the skeleton out. But no matter how hard Heavenly Lord Kubi-e tried, he could not succeed. This situation lasted for about a few minutes. Then, Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's voice gradually weakened. Ningyu knew. Heavenly Lord Kubi-e was completely dead. His body was also taken by the skeleton. Human, fresh flesh. The skeleton turned to look at Ningyu, licked his lips, and said, I didn't expect that Ao Feng would receive two great gifts as soon as I came out of the mountain. Fresh and tender human flesh. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Hearing Ao Feng's words, Ningyu's face became extremely solemn. After taking over Heavenly Lord Kubi-e's body, Ao Feng's strength improved again. Originally, Ao Feng could only be ranked around 30th on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Now, he could be ranked around 20th. Kill. Heavenly Lord Ao Feng shouted and charged at Ningyu with a roar. Kai. Heavenly Lord Ao Feng was very fast. He was so fast that he arrived in front of Ningyu in an instant. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched at Ningyu's heart. Explode. At the critical moment, Ningyu threw out the Heavenly Lord talisman from his sleeve and detonated it. Child's play. The Heavenly Lord talisman that Ningyu threw out did not cause any damage to Heavenly Lord Ao Feng. After dispersing the aftermath, Heavenly Lord Ao Feng came in front of Ningyu. Swoosh. At the critical moment, a cold glint suddenly shot out from the red demon sword. Ning rode. Chapter 2278. Bang! Ning Lu punched out, bringing along a berserk strong wind, colliding with Ao Feng's fist that could not be avoided. Swoosh! Swoosh! After one move, two figures retreated hastily. This move, both sides were evenly matched. Very good. Ao Feng stared at Ning Lu with a cold expression and said in a deep voice, You have successfully infuriated me. Next, I will let you know the price of angering me. Swoosh. When his voice fell, Ao Feng did not hesitate and dashed out again. Let me. Seeing Ao Feng make a move, Ningyu took a step out and blocked in front of Ning Lu. Although he did not know why Ning Lu could erupt with such terrifying combat power, Ningyu was very clear that Ning Lu must have paid a huge price. Letting Ning Lu, who was in a seriously injured state, block Ao Feng for him, Ningyu could not do it. Rumble. However, right at this moment, all the tombs started to shake. Furthermore, the speed of this shaking became faster and faster. At first, it was only the tombs shaking, but as time passed, the entire Cloud Valley was not spared. Bad news. The sudden change made Ao Feng's expression change drastically. Having no time to care about Ning Lu and Ningyu, Ao Feng waved his hand and directly sucked out the heavenly demon corpses in the tombs, storing them into the spatial magic treasure that he carried with him. After doing all this, Ao Feng glared at Ningyu and Ning Lu, then tore the void and tunneled in. Let's go too. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. He grabbed Ning Lu's palm and wanted to leave. Wait. However, Ning Lu directly broke free from Ningyu and said in a deep voice, This is an opportunity. Opportunity? Ningyu was puzzled. Seeing that Cloud Valley was about to collapse, staying at this time, what was the difference from courting death? Why? Why would Ning Lu say that it was an opportunity? We'll know in a while. Moreover, that guy might not be able to escape. Ning Lu waved his hand, indicating that Ningyu did not need to panic. All right. Helpless, Ningyu could only choose to stay. Rumble. As time went by, the swaying of the cloudy Cloud Valley grew more and more intense. The ground collapsed, and the cave completely collapsed. Whoosh. Just when Ningyu was about to give up, a branch the size of an arm shot out from the ground. World Tree. Ningyu's pupils shrank when he saw the branches that suddenly shot out. This branch was not an ordinary tree branch, but a branch of the World Tree. Calling it a branch was a bit unfair. Roots. This root contained most of the world tree's essence. Xiao. Ninglu didn't hesitate at all. The moment the roots sprang out, they moved quickly, opened their mouths, and swallowed it. Catcher, catcher, catcher. It didn't take long before Ninglu swallowed the root of the world tree. Bang. Subsequently, Ninglu sat down cross-legged and began refining. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ninglu's refining speed was very fast, fast to the extreme. Bang. In just a dozen or so seconds, Ninglu's missing energy was completely replenished, and he returned to his peak state. Rise. Seeing that Ninglu was cultivating, the immortal qi in Ningyu's body surged out and formed an immortal qi protective shield around him. No matter how the collapsed rocks fell, they couldn't hurt Ningyu and Ninglu at all. Bang. 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 Just like that. Time was ticking away. Ninglu's devouring speed became faster and faster. 10 minutes passed in the blink of an eye. During these 10 minutes, a total of 3 muffled sounds came from Ninglu's body. Every muffled sound signified that Ninglu's cultivation had increased by a level. Early stage Saint Immortal, middle stage Saint Immortal, late stage Saint Immortal, peak stage Saint Immortal. Ninglu was originally an early stage Saint Immortal. After refining the root of the world tree, his cultivation level soared to the peak stage Saint Immortal, according to Ningyu's preliminary estimation. If Ninglu challenged the Heavenly Lord substitute role, he would probably be ranked in the top 20. Of course, that was only Ningyu's preliminary estimation. As for how strong Ninglu's real combat ability was, Ningyu didn't know. Ningyu, relax. Ningyu was thinking. Ninglu's voice rang in his ears. Ningyu was stunned at first, then he relaxed. Swoosh. A terrifying energy wave surged out of Ninglu's body and entered Ningyu's body. Ningyu was shocked. He thought that the energy of the root of the world tree had been completely refined by Ninglu. However, it seemed that Ninglu had only consumed half of its energy. If Ninglu refined all of it, his cultivation level could even reach the half-step Heavenly Lord realm. Thank you. Ningyu knew that there was no need for too many words between him and Ninglu. He thanked Ninglu secretly, then started to use a secret skill to refine the energy that entered his body. Bang! 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 A series of muffled sounds came from Ningyu's body. Although his cultivation level did not increase and was still at the half-step Saint Immortal realm, every muffled sound meant that Ningyu's strength had increased by a level. Originally, Ningyu could only be ranked in the top 80 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. However, at this moment, he could definitely enter the top 50 if he challenged the Heavenly Lord substitute list. However, this was not the final state. That was because there was still a lot of energy in Ningyu's body that had not been refined. 49, 48, 47. The speed at which time passed was obviously slower than the speed at which Ningyu's strength increased. Crack. Half an hour later. It was only when a crisp sound came from Ningyu's body that Ningyu stopped. Huff. Ningyu's eyes were filled with shock as he slowly exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. After half an hour of devouring and refining, his current strength was enough to be ranked in the top 15 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. If he met Ao Feng again, he could even kill him in one move. After all, Ao Feng had not recovered to his peak state. His current overall strength could only be ranked in the top 20 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Crack. Ningyu had just achieved some success in his cultivation when the immortal qi protective shield he set up shattered. Let's go. Ningyu and Ninglu looked at each other, then they tore the void apart and dashed out of Xia Yun Valley. Rumble. After Ningyu and Ninglu left Xia Yun Valley, it suddenly collapsed. Countless debris flew all over the sky. My feet. My eyes, who saw my eyes? Heavenly Lord Ao Feng, I'm also a heavenly demon. Why did you devour me? Why? All of a sudden. All kinds of shouts and curses rang in Ningyu's ears. He looked over. The entire outer area of Xia Yun Valley had become hell on earth. Countless heavenly demons died in Ao Feng's hands. Every time Ao Feng devoured a heavenly demon, his strength would increase. At first, Ningyu judged that Ao Feng could be ranked in the top 20 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. But now, Ao Feng's strength had already soared to around the top 18 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. At this speed, it probably wouldn't be long before even Ningyu was no match for him. I must stop Ao Feng. Ningyu's face was cold. He stomped on the ground and was about to rush out. Swish. However, before Ningyu rushed out, he stopped. Chapter 2279. Heavenly Lord. Ningyu was startled, then his expression turned serious. He could sense a terrifying aura from the young man. Only a Heavenly Lord would have such an aura. I don't think he's a Heavenly Lord. Ninglu shook his head and said, he probably has a few powerful Heavenly Lord talismans. I see. Ningyu took a closer look and found that Ninglu was right. The aura from the young man was very similar to the aura from the Heavenly Lord talismans. Without the help of external items, the old man couldn't even make it into the top 300 on the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking. Shuhi. While Ningyu and Ninglu were talking, Hongyu, who was hiding in the red demon sword, screamed. This is bad. Hongyu's face turned pale. What's going on? Ningyu frowned and began to communicate with Hongyu. The peerless genius of the Shu family, ranked 500th on the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking, from one of the top 3 families in the Kungsu territory. Hongyu said in a trembling voice, Shuhi is powerful and ruthless. Anyone who is targeted by him, without exception, will be killed. Everyone he targeted, without exception, ended up dead. Only ranked 500th. Ningyu had a strange expression. According to his judgment. With Shuhi's strength, no matter what, he could be ranked around 300. Only. Hongyu was dumbfounded. In her opinion, Ningyu might not know what it meant to be in the top 500 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking. There were many geniuses in the top 10,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking in the vast Kungsu territory. However, there were only a handful of peerless geniuses in the top 500. The reason was simple. Rumor had it that all the peerless geniuses in the top 500 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking would be taken away by the Immortal Court. The Immortal Court was a place that all the people in the higher realms dreamed of. Of course. It was just a rumor that had yet to be confirmed. After all, the Immortal Court was very mysterious. Even powerful Heavenly Lords might not be able to find the entrance to the Immortal Court. Most of the peerless geniuses in the top 500 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking would disappear within a year. That was why there was a speculation that they were all brought into the Immortal Court. Be careful. Don't expose your strength, Hongyu cautioned. Don't worry, I won't offend others if they don't offend me. Ningyu replied calmly, then sealed the red demon sword. I wonder what the relationship between Shu He and Shu Ying is. Ningyu frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. When he first entered the higher planes, he was separated from Shu Ying. At that time, Shu Ying had said that she came from the Brilliant Void territory. Ningyu had never been to the Brilliant Void Weave after wandering in the advanced planes for so many years. Now that he had met someone called Shu He, Ningyu decided to ask him if he knew Shu Ying. Rumble. Ningyu was still deep in thought. Over there, Shu He and Ao Feng already clashed together fiercely. Sure enough, it was as expected. Shu He's strength was too weak. Whether it was the top 500 or the top 300 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking, it was impossible for him to defeat Ao Feng. Under such circumstances, Shu He didn't dare to be careless. He directly took out several powerful Heavenly Lord talismans and detonated them. Rumble. The explosion of the Heavenly Monarch talisman not only affected Proud Wind, even the surrounding aboriginal heavenly demons were blasted until they were on their last breaths. Do you think you're the only one with Heavenly Lord talismans? Ao Feng's face was cold. He took out hundreds of Heavenly Lord talismans and threw them at Shu He. Although the Heavenly Lord talismans that Ao Feng took out were not very powerful, they won in quantity. With so many Heavenly Lord talismans exploding at the same time, even if Shu He was prepared and wore a secret battle armor, he still couldn't bear it. Poochie. Dark red blood spurted out. His face was extremely gloomy. He originally thought that with a few powerful Heavenly Lord talismans, he could be the final winner. Who would have thought that he was still a little careless? Ao Feng's strength was beyond his expectations. Want to kill me? How can it be so easy? Ao Feng also spurted out a large mouthful of blood. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said fiercely, "Your blood qi is stronger. After devouring you, my strength can increase by 1%. Courting death. He felt very insulted and said angrily. No matter what, he could be ranked in the top 300 of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking. Now, Ao Feng actually said that devouring him would only increase his strength by 1%. This made him extremely angry. However, although he was angry, he didn't do anything stupid. After losing the Heavenly Lord talismans, his overall strength wasn't Ao Feng's match. If Ao Feng used his full strength, he would even be defeated in one move. However, Ao Feng felt a little puzzled. He really couldn't understand why Ao Feng didn't attack him. As he wasn't sure what Ao Feng was up to, he didn't use his trump card to escape. In fact, he wasn't particularly worried. After all, he had the special teleportation scroll of the brilliant Void Territories Shu family. Once he activated the teleportation scroll, even if he faced the top 20 experts of the Heavenly Lord substitute ranking, he could escape safely. What a piece of trash. Ao Feng glanced at Shu He, then turned around and looked at Ningyu. I didn't expect you to come out alive. If you didn't die, how could I? Ningyu rubbed his nose and said indifferently. Swoosh. Until now. Shu He finally noticed Ningyu. Half-step Saint Immortal? When he realized that Ningyu was only a half-step Saint Immortal, Shu He couldn't help but reveal a disdainful expression. He was a peak Saint Immortal. But Ningyu hadn't even reached Saint Immortal. Ao Feng actually thought so highly of this piece of trash. Someone's brain must have rusted. Shu He smiled and said sinisterly, you actually think so highly of a piece of trash who hasn't even reached Saint Immortal. Idiot. Ao Feng wasn't a stupid person. To him, Shu He and Ningyu were definitely in cahoots. Shu He was responsible for infuriating him so that he would lose his mind and attack Shu He. Ningyu used sneak attacks. Therefore, even though Shu He kept mocking him, Ao Feng didn't get angry. Ningyu, our strengths are on par. Why don't we call a truce for today? Ao Feng's eyes spun as he said, it wouldn't be too late to fight the next time we meet. Ningyu. When Shu He heard the two words Ningyu, he was slightly surprised. He felt like he had heard of Ningyu somewhere before. Right. Suddenly, Shu He slapped his thigh and recalled who Ningyu was. Shu Ying, that piece of trash, once said that she knew a person called Ningyu in a low-class realm and he followed her to a high-class realm. Since it's someone that little b** tch knows, I can. The corner of Shu He's lips curled up slightly. Recently, Shu He had joined forces with the elders of the Shu family to put Shu Ying under house arrest. Their goal was to find out the whereabouts of the Tree of World from Shu Ying. Ever since Shu Ying returned to the Shu family, Shu He used a secret treasure to find out that Shu Ying had come into contact with the Tree of World. How precious was the Tree of World? Chapter 2280. Evenly matched. Hehe, you think too highly of yourself. Ningyu smiled slightly, looked at Ao Feng, and said, to kill you, I don't need to use my full strength at all. Ha ha ha. It was as if Ao Feng had heard the funniest joke in the world. He first raised his head and laughed wildly, then changed the topic and said coldly, you might have some misunderstanding about me. My current strength, compared to when I was in Cloud Valley, is more than doubled. It's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. In my opinion, everyone should sit down and have a good talk, lest we hurt our friendship. At this time, Shu He acted as a peacemaker. He took a step forward and said in a clear voice, Ningyu's strength is very strong, and Ao Feng is not weak either. Rather than both sides suffering, why not reconcile? Furthermore, although Ao Feng is a heavenly demon, he has never killed a human martial artist, so his nature is not bad. And Ningyu, you shouldn't use Ao Feng's identity to talk about things, you should be more magnanimous. The more Shu He spoke, the more energetic he became. In the end, he even leaned towards Ao Feng and started to persuade Ningyu. Very good. Hearing Shu He's words, Ao Feng quietly gave him a thumbs up. There were no eternal enemies, no eternal friends. In Ao Feng's opinion, as long as Shu He stood together with him, it was enough. Anyway, his idea was to leave as soon as possible, and not to be entangled with Ningyu here. After all, there was still an existence that made his heart palpitate by Ningyu's side. According to Ao Feng's speculation, Ninglu's overall strength could even be comparable to Ningyu. Once Ninglu and Ningyu attacked together, then what welcomed him was very likely death. You're welcome. Shu He smiled at Ao Feng, indicating that all of this was what he should do. To uphold justice, to maintain the peace of the world, he was duty-bound. What's going on today? Why are there so many flies? Ningyu looked left and right, revealing a puzzled expression. Who are you calling a fly? Shu He's face instantly turned cold. Very obviously, the fly that Ningyu was talking about was definitely him. Whoever talks the most is the fly. Ningyu said lightly. Ningyu did not intend to kill Shu He. He wanted to see if he could get news of Shu Ying from Shu He. Courting death. Shu He was furious. He was, after all, an exceptional prodigy of the Shu clan of the brilliant Void Territory and an unparalleled martial expert ranked in the top 300 of the Heaven Monarch substitute role. How could he tolerate Ningyu's words? However, no matter how hard it was to endure, Shu He had to endure. There was no other reason. His overall strength was weaker than Ningyu's. Under such circumstances, enraging Ningyu was clearly not a wise choice. Good chance. Seeing Ningyu and Shu He quarreling, Ao Feng seized the opportunity. He stomped on the ground and shot off into the distance at an extremely terrifying speed. Ao Feng was not a fool. Endure for a moment and be tranquil, take a step back and you'll see the world. Where there's life, there's hope. As long as he could leave successfully, when he recovered to his peak state, wouldn't it be as easy as taking something out of his pocket to kill Ningyu? Want to leave? Ningyu's aura had long been locked on to Ao Feng. Therefore, as soon as Ao Feng left, he chased after him. I'll collect some interest first. Ao Feng and Ningyu left together. The one who was the most excited was Shu He. The corner of his mouth curled up as he said to Ninglu, "Kid, if you're smart, come over and kneel before me as soon as possible. Then, kowtow a few times, otherwise, fut." However, before Shu He could finish his words, he felt his body lighten as he flew backward in a straight line. Bang! The ethereal river only stopped when it crashed into a towering tree. Fut! Fresh blood spurted out and Shu He's aura instantly dropped from peak Saint Immortal to early stage Saint Immortal. Moreover, it continued to drop. Shishisha. Ninglu moved his feet and came in front of Shu He. He swung his slightly swollen fist and said calmly, "You should feel very fortunate. Fortunately, your surname is Shu. Otherwise, you would have long become a dead soul under my fist." Before Ningyu went to chase after Ao Feng, he once instructed to leave Shu He alive. Ninglu definitely wouldn't go against Ningyu. Therefore, he only heavily injured Shu He and didn't kill him. Waiwei, your strength. Shu He turned pale with fright. He didn't expect that even the little fellow by Ningyu's side had such terrifying strength. One move. With just one move, he was defeated. Moreover, it was a crushing defeat. What about me? If you talk nonsense again, I'll dig your eyes out. Ninglu glared fiercely at Shu He, then slapped him on the back. Pa! His palm and Shu He's back came into contact. A terrifying force surged out from Ninglu's palm and entered Shu He's body. What did you do to me? Shu He's pupils constricted as he cried out. Relax, I just left a bit of force in your heart, said Yi Shiwen. Ninglu shrugged and said coolly, next, you better be more obedient. Because as long as I'm willing, I can take your life at any time. Thud. Hearing Ninglu's words, Shu He directly sat paralyzed on the ground. It's over. It's all over. In his mind, this word kept reverberating. Shu He was very desperate. His scheme failed and was schemed against by Ningyu instead. Now, He could only pray that Ning Yu would be killed by Ao Feng. Bang! The difference between ideals and reality was always very big. Before long, Ning Yu dashed Shu his hope. A figure suddenly dashed out of midair and fell heavily to the ground. Ao Feng. This figure that was thrown to the ground was precisely Ao Feng. As for Ning Yu, he was floating in midair. His expression did not change much. 100 superior grade heavenly elixirs and 50 heaven monarch talismans that are comparable to the top 50 of the heaven monarch substitute list. Thinking of the things that he found on Ao Feng, Ning Yu could not help but be excited. Originally, the 100 heavenly elixirs belonged to heaven monarch Kuba. However, ever since heaven monarch Kuba was forcefully possessed by Ao Feng, the heavenly elixirs fell into Ao Feng's hands. In addition to the heaven monarch talismans that Ao Feng seized, Ning Yu suddenly became rich. What kind of concept was 100 heavenly elixirs? Even a super dominion like the brilliant void dominion that was ranked in the top 3 might not be able to take it out. Purely comparing the number of heavenly elixirs, Ning Yu could already be comparable to the superpowers. You killed Ao Feng. Shu He stared at Ao Feng, who was lying on the ground lifelessly, and said to Ning Yu, "You're in big trouble. The Ao Feng clan is very powerful among the Skyfians. Offending them, even if you run to the ends of the world, you will still be hunted down. Why are you still talking so much nonsense?" Ning Yu did not look at Shu He in the eye. He looked at Ning Lu and said, "I only said to keep him alive. I did not say that he must be unharmed." Unharmed? Shu He almost cursed out loud. His aura was declining. How was it possible that he was unharmed? Understood. Ning Lu nodded and then had a thought. Chapter 2281. The pain coming from his heart caused Shu He to let out a hysterical scream. A while later, Ning Lu retracted his senses. At this moment, Shu He was lying on the ground like a dead dog. There was even an unknown liquid flowing out of his crotch. "I'll ask you a few questions now. If you can answer them honestly, I can consider sparing your life." Ning Yu went straight to the point without beating around the bush. He raised a finger and said, "First question, do you know Xu Ying?" "Yes, I know Xu Ying," Shu He hurriedly said as though he had found a life-saving straw. "I have a good relationship with Xu Ying. She's my younger sister, and I'm her older brother." "Why did I hear that Xu Ying doesn't have an older brother?" Ning Yu looked at Xu He with interest and asked doubtfully. Xu He's face turned slightly pale. He knew that he had thought himself clever. Since Ning Yu knew Xu Ying, how could he not know about her background? Xu He gritted his teeth and said, "Xu Ying is imprisoned in the Xu family. If she doesn't receive treatment in time, I'm afraid." Xu He did not finish his sentence. He needed to give Ning Yu some time to think. As for whether Ning Yu was willing to return to the Xu family with him, he was not sure yet. However, if Ning Yu was foolish enough to follow him back to the Xu family, he would have 100 ways to kill Ning Yu. "Why is she imprisoned?" Ning Yu frowned. "Simple. She offended the great elder of the Xu family." Xu He tried to make the story sound smooth so that Ning Yu would not find anything wrong. He would not foolishly tell Ning Yu that the Xu family imprisoned Xu Ying because of the Tree of World. "I'll choose to believe you for once." After a moment of silence, Ning Yu said, "Let's go to the brilliant void territory immediately." Since the Cloud Valley had collapsed, moreover, all the indigenous sky demons in the entire evil spirit battlefield had been killed by Ao Feng. Hence, there was no need for them to remain. After casually tossing Ao Feng's corpse into the Red Devil Sword, Ning Yu's figure flickered as he flew off into the distance. Swish, swish, swish. Behind Ning Yu, the bald martial artist, Xu He, and Ning Lu followed closely. The reason why the bald martial artist was not killed was because he was very smart. When Ao Feng was killing the aboriginal heavenly demon, he had quietly hidden himself, which was why he was spared. Otherwise, his life would definitely be taken by Ao Feng. In fact, at this moment, the bald martial artist's heart was not calm at all. Hong Yu and Ning Yu entered Xia Yun Valley together. So far, he had not even seen Hong Yu's shadow. Fortunately, Hongyue's identity token was not broken. At the very least, Hongyu was not in danger for the time being. There were many exits from the evil spirit battlefield. One of the exits was located in the capital city of the Kuanshu territory, in the Cloud Sea Peak to the west of the city. The Cloud Sea Peak was shrouded in mist all year round. Rumor had it that powerful demonic beasts often appeared halfway up the Cloud Sea Peak. Some experts whose cultivation were lower than the Saint Immortal realm did not even dare to approach the Cloud Sea Peak, let alone the halfway point. Whoosh! The Cloud Sea Peak that day was obviously a little unusual. All of a sudden, a group of demonic beasts charged down from the halfway point of the peak. Not only were there a large number of demonic beasts, but their strength was also abnormally terrifying. The weakest demonic beast was at the Saint Immortal realm. What's going on? I don't know. Could it be that there's a demon beast king in the Cloud Sea Peak again? What demon beast king? It's clearly a heavenly demon. At the foot of the Cloud Sea Peak, many martial artists fled in all directions. Most of them were peerless immortals or essence immortals. Facing a Saint Immortal realm demonic beast, they could only choose to run. Quick, inform the He family that the Cloud Sea Peak will be guarded by them for the next month. Right. There's a demon beast king in the Cloud Sea Peak. Quick, inform the He family. That's not right. A few days ago, I saw He Wuming and He Wushuang enter the Cloud Sea Peak with the experts of the He family. They should be guarding the Cloud Sea Peak now. Everyone discussed among themselves. Crack. At the same time, Kuanshu City, the He family. He Donghao, the head of the He family, slammed the table next to him, shattering it into pieces. How dare they? He Donghao's expression was extremely cold. He had just received news that the identity tokens of the two geniuses of the He family, He Wuming and He Wushuang, who were ranked in the top 10,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute role, had shattered. The shattering of their identity tokens meant that they were dead. Relying on He Wuming and He Wushuang, the He family had risen from a third-tier family to a second-tier family. One had to know. Only a second-tier family had the right to guard the Cloud Sea Peak and continuously hunt down the heavenly demons that came out of the unholy spirit battlefield to strengthen the family. But now, He Wuming and He Wushuang had died in battle. How could he not be angry? Black-white double doom. He Donghao stood up abruptly and said coldly, I order you to hurry to the unholy spirit battlefield. You must investigate this thoroughly and bring the murderer to justice. Yes. The air vibrated. Then, two subtle waves could be heard. The black-white double doom left the He family and rushed to the Cloud Sea Peak. Report. As soon as the black-white double doom left, a servant came to He Donghao and knelt down. There's something wrong in the Cloud Sea Peak. It seems that the monster beast king has appeared. Smack. He Donghao stood up abruptly, his face turning pale. When it rains, it pours. The He family was only a second-tier family and did not have the ability to fight against the monster beast king. Every demonic beast that could become the monster beast king had the combined ability to be ranked in the top 3,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute role. The most powerful person in the He family, the patriarch, deity White Crane, was only ranked 3,500 on the Heavenly Lord substitute role. Even if deity White Crane appeared, he would not be able to withstand the attack of the monster beast king. Buzz. Just as He Donghao was frowning. Beside him, an old man in white clothes slowly appeared. Patriarch. Seeing the old man in white, He Donghao quickly bowed and greeted respectfully. You don't have to worry about the monster beast king. Leave it to me. Deity White Crane waved his hand and threw a golden box to He Donghao. Today is Hongting's son's big day. Send this gift to him first. I'll be there soon. Yes, Patriarch. After taking the golden box, He Donghao rushed to the Hong family without any hesitation. Although the Hong family was also a second-tier family, compared to the He family, the Hong family was many times stronger. The original Hong family was a first-tier family. Due to the war that happened tens of thousands of years ago, the Heavenly Lord of the Hong family died tragically. Therefore, the Hong family fell from a first-tier family to a second-tier family. Even so, the Hong family still had a strong foundation and was the leader of a second-tier family. Even a first-tier family had to show some respect to the Hong family. After all, the old friends of the patriarch of the Hong family were still alive. If the Hong family was in trouble, the friends of the patriarch of the Hong family would definitely help them. Of course. Let's not talk about that for now. Halfway up the Cloud Sea Peak. Chapter 2282. Halfway up the mountain. Ning Yu closed his eyes and sensed the aura in the void. His expression turned serious. With Ning Yu's keen senses, he could naturally discover that there was an extremely powerful demonic beast in an area not far away from here. Unsurprisingly, that demonic beast's strength was at least in the top 30 of the Heaven Lord substitute list. Of course. What made Ning Yu's expression turn serious was not the powerful demonic beast, but a human martial artist hidden in the void. Heaven Lord. The human martial artist hidden in the void had reached the terrifying Heaven Lord realm. Although Ning Yu was ranked around 15th on the Heaven Lord substitute list, he was still unable to compete with a Heaven Lord with his current strength. Even. The chance of escaping was very slim. Ning Yu knew this, so he was extra careful and tried to hide his aura to prevent being discovered by a Heaven Lord expert. Swish. Swish. At this moment, the clouds suddenly dispersed, and two human martial artists, one black and one white, appeared in front of Ning Yu. Black and white double ghost. Seeing the sudden appearance of the human martial artists, the bald martial artist shouted before Ning Yu could react. The bald martial artist still had a fresh memory of the black and white double ghosts. A few years ago, before he joined the Hong family, he once had a dispute with the black and white double ghosts over some trivial matters. Fortunately, he ran fast enough. Otherwise, he would definitely be killed by the black and white double ghosts who claimed to kill without blinking. Although he escaped, the black and white double ghosts were still chasing after him. This never-ending pursuit only ended when he joined the Hong Yu's side. However, the black and white double ghosts were smarter. They did not go after the bald martial artist, but they spent a lot of money to hire someone from the assassination hall. For this reason, the bald martial artist specially shaved his head and changed his appearance. You, yes, I'm talking about you. Get over here. At this moment, Black Fiend hooked his finger at the bald martial artist and said, I have a few questions to ask you. As long as you answer honestly, I can guarantee your safety. Why are you talking nonsense with them? Bai Sha didn't want to waste time. His face was cold, and a terrifying aura was released from his body, pressing down on the bald martial artist. He said coldly, the mission given to us by the Patriarch is to investigate the cause of death of the two young masters. We can directly extract their memories. Bai Sha was particularly fierce. Without any hesitation, Xiao Chen tried to devour the bald cultivator's memories. Kill. How could Baldy just sit and wait for death? He yelled and decided to take the initiative. He directly used his powerful strength to fight with White Devil, Poochie. However, the strength of the bald martial artist was obviously much weaker than White Fiend. Just one move. He was defeated by White Fiend, and he spat out a mouthful of red blood. Bai Sha raised his eyebrows, and he seemed to find the bald martial artist familiar. Got it. After a while, Bai Sha slapped his thigh and said, You are Du Qi. Recently, White Fiend had been searching for the bald martial artist, Du Qi, through the assassination hall. Now that he had found Du Qi, how could he not be excited? Ha ha ha. At the same time of excitement, Bai Sha raised his head and laughed wildly. His laughter was very insolent. After laughing wildly, Bai Sha turned the thread of conversation and said coldly, It's really wearing out iron shoes in fruitless search, only to find it effortlessly. Du Qi, this day next year, will be your death date. As the word death date fell, Bai Sha stepped on the ground and rushed to Du Qi at an extremely terrifying speed. It's over. Seeing Bai Sha rushing to himself, Du Qi's head exploded. He knew that he was finished. However, just as Bai Sha was about to reach Du Qi, an afterimage blocked in front of Du Qi. Ning Yu. Obviously. The martial artist blocking in front of Du Qi was Ning Yu. No matter what, Du Qi was also a member of the Scarlet Moon. Ning Yu naturally wouldn't sit back and do nothing. The reason why he didn't make a move immediately was that Ning Yu was paying close attention to the beastkin in the void and the actions of the human martial artist. Die for me. Seeing that someone was courting death, Bai Shuo yelled and punched with a violent immortal wind, slamming into Ning Yu's head. Catcher. A crisp sound rang. A figure was blasted out. What? Originally, He Shuo crossed his arms in front of his chest, wanting to watch Bai Shuo perform. But, seeing the figure that was blasted out, He Shuo opened his mouth slightly, and his face was full of disbelief. Catcher. Clenching his fists, He Shuo was furious to the extreme. He could never imagine that Bai Shuo, who was only a little weaker than him, would be defeated in one move. You're courting death. He Shuo's face was gloomy and cold. He jumped up directly and rushed to Ning Yu. Catcher. Facing He Shuo, Ning Yu's strategy was the same. He clenched his right fist and punched He Shuo's fist. The two fists collided. The same crisp sound rang. There was no doubt that He Shuo fell heavily to the ground and fell on his face. You guys seem to be very arrogant. After casually defeating the black and white double ghosts, Ning Yu moved his feet and came in front of them, saying indifferently, attack indiscriminately. So what if I attack directly? He Shuo said fiercely, we are from the He family. In the Kungsu territory, the He family is a second-rate family. If you offend the He family, even if you run to the ends of the world, you will definitely be killed. He family? Ning Yu was slightly startled. It was really a narrow road for enemies. In the Cloud Valley, he killed He Wuming and He Wushuang. Unexpectedly. As soon as he left the evil spirit battlefield and came to the Kungsu territory, he encountered the black and white double ghosts of the He family. Humph. Are you afraid? Since you know we are from the He family, hurry up and kowtow to admit your mistake. He Shuo snorted coldly. You don't seem to know your situation. Ning Yu shrugged and said, I never keep trash like all of you alive. Swish, swish, swish. While speaking, Ning Yu opened the Red Fiend sword. Three figures suddenly dashed out of the Red Fiend sword. The Dark Emperor, Red Fiend, and Hong Yu. Among them, the Dark Emperor and the Red Fiend charged at the black and white double ghosts while Hong Yu stood next to Ning Yu. You. Seeing Hong Yu standing next to Ning Yu, the black and white double ghosts finally had a look of fear on their faces. They might be able to kill the bald martial artist Du Qi. However, they did not dare to act rashly against Hong Yu. Even if Hong Yu's position in the Hong family was not too high. What about you? Devour them. The Dark Emperor and the Red Fiend ignored the black and white double ghosts' terrified look. They immediately attacked and a terrifying devouring power surged out of their bodies and began to devour the black and white double ghosts. Swish, swish, swish. Feeling the rapid loss of energy in their bodies, the black and white double ghosts revealed a look of despair. We are from the He family. If you kill us, the He family will definitely not let you off. The black and white double ghosts did not want to die. They tried their best to roar, trying to attract Ning Yu's attention. We are killing people from the He family. Ning Yu said calmly. Is that so? Chapter 2283. Crack. In an instant. The void next to Ning Yu cracked, and a huge palm attacked him. Go. Ning Yu's face was calm. The immortal qi in his body gathered on his fist, and he punched back. Bang. The two collided, and Ning Yu took 3 steps back to stabilize himself. As for the old man in front of him, he stood there without moving an inch. At first glance, Ning Yu seemed to be at a disadvantage. However, the truth was that Ning Yu only used 10% of his strength, while the old man used 80% of his strength. Your strength is not bad. The old man looked up and down at Ning Yu, and said indifferently, it's a pity that you shouldn't be enemies with the He family. Kill yourself, I promise I won't embarrass your family. White Crane Immortal. Hong Yu stepped forward and said in a deep voice, the cause of this matter was that the black and white double ghosts attacked us indiscriminately, and we had no choice but to attack them. Ha ha, Hong Yu, You have been expelled from the Hong family, didn't you hear the news? White Crane Immortal said with a smile. Hearing that, Hong Yu was shocked. Expelled from the Hong family? In the Hong family, although her talent wasn't too high, it wasn't low either. Besides, she didn't do anything to shame the Hong family. How could she be expelled? You don't believe me? White Crane Immortal said casually. You stole the Heavenly Lord Hong Ting's talisman. How can the Hong family tolerate you? If it weren't for your father's pleading, I'm afraid your life would have been taken away by the Hong family. Boom. Hong Yu's face darkened. The Heavenly Lord talisman was given to her by Hong Teng, and he had tampered with it. Now that Hong Ting had backstabbed her, she was very angry. Of course. Although she was angry, Hong Yu didn't dare to show too much. If it was really as White Crane Immortal said, she had been expelled from the Hong family, then her identity had started to play a role. If she fought with White Crane Immortal again, it would not end well. Fine, you can leave now. Immortal White Crane waved his hand and said indifferently, the rest of you can kill yourselves. I can leave your corpses intact. Can't you just let them go? Hong Yu wanted to fight for Ning Yu and the others. In Hong Yue's opinion, Ning Yu was very strong, but Immortal White Crane was even stronger. Tens of thousands of years ago, Deity White Crane was a peerless expert ranked in the top 2,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. After tens of thousands of years of cultivation, Master White Crane's current strength could at least be ranked in the top 1,000 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Furthermore, it was possible for him to enter the top 800. Don't push your luck. Immortal White Crane's face turned cold. He stared at the red moon and said, I gave you a chance. If you don't know how to cherish it, then I can only apologize to you. Boom. During the conversation, Immortal White Crane suddenly exerted his aura and pressed down on Ning Yu. Because he had fought with Ning Yu before, in Immortal White Crane's heart, Ning Yu was the strongest. As long as he got rid of Ning Yu, wouldn't the others be at his mercy? His figure flashed. Immortal White Crane used his aura to oppress Ning Yu while rushing toward Ning Yu. This attack, Immortal White Crane used 100% of his strength. Looking at Immortal White Crane who was constantly rushing toward him, Ning Yu frowned. It was not that Ning Yu was afraid of Immortal White Crane. Instead, he was considering whether he should kill Master White Crane or not. In fact, Ning Yu had a lot of concerns. Especially under the premise that he didn't know whether the Heavenly Lord in the Void was a friend or a foe, it was very irrational to expose his strength rashly. Just as he was thinking, Immortal White Crane had already arrived in front of Ning Yu. Kill. Feeling the murderous aura of Immortal White Crane, Ning Yu simply got rid of all the distracting thoughts in his mind. He mobilized the immortal chi in his body, gathered it on his fist, and threw a backhand punch. Crack. The two fists collided. Ning Yu stood where he was without moving, while Immortal White Crane retreated several feet before stopping. Swoosh. The attack was successful. Ning Yu didn't choose to stop, but chased after it. This time, Ning Yu's target was Immortal White Crane's head. Hit the snake where it hurts, don't hold back. Ning Yu wouldn't give Immortal White Crane any chance to escape. For an expert like Immortal White Crane, once he was given a chance, the consequences would be unimaginable. Not good. Immortal White Crane was worthy of being the ancestor of the He family. He immediately made a choice and flew away. As long as there's life, there's hope. Immortal White Crane knew this well, so he didn't leave any harsh words and directly chose to escape. However, how could Ning Yu give him a chance to escape? In order to kill Immortal White Crane, Ning Yu used 50% of his strength. Poochie. Ning Yu chased after White Crane and arrived in front of it. His fist brought along an extremely terrifying gale of immortal chi and hit White Crane's head. Bang! Immortal White Crane's head exploded like a fruit. Hiss. Seeing Immortal White Crane's tragic death, not only did the black and white double ghosts gasp, but even the Heavenly Lord expert hiding in the void gasped. Master, this human is very strong, I'm no match for him. In the void, a human and a demonic beast. The demonic beast had 2 horns on its head and a pair of wings on its back. At this moment, The double-horned demonic beast said solemnly, according to my estimation, he should be ranked in the top 30 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Top 30? Haha, you underestimated his strength. The human martial artist smiled and said, 2 of you, or even 3 of you, are no match for him. How is that possible? The double-horned demonic beast jumped up. Some time ago, he had secretly challenged the Heavenly Lord substitute list. At that time, he had defeated an expert ranked 30th on the Heavenly Lord substitute list with his late-stage Saint Immortal cultivation. Now that he had advanced to the peak Saint Immortal, his overall strength could be ranked around 25th on the Heavenly Lord substitute list. If what Heavenly Lord Rong said was true, then Ningyu's strength could be ranked in the top 20 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list. Thinking of this, the double-horned demonic beast hesitated and said, Master, even in the Celestial Court, I'm afraid there are no peerless geniuses who can squeeze into the top 20 of the Heavenly Lord substitute list with their half-step Saint Immortal cultivation, right? Of course not. Heavenly Lord Rong shook his head. Let me try him. The double-horned demonic beast rolled its eyes and said, if he can fight me to a draw, I'll give him the token to enter the Celestial Court. Whoosh. As soon as the voice died away, the double-horned demonic beast's body flashed and it rushed out. Crack. It only took an instant. The double-horned demonic beast arrived in front of Ningyu. Swoosh. A terrifying force shot out from one of the horns on the demonic beast's head and attacked Ningyu. Let the demonic beast attack. Ningyu frowned slightly. He thought the Heavenly Lord would attack first and he was even prepared to run away. As soon as the Heavenly Lord attacked him, he would leave immediately. However, the demonic beast's attack made him stop in his tracks. Chapter 2284. Ningyu was not an indecisive person. Since taking down the demonic beast was his only chance, he would not hold back. The terrifying energy in his body gathered in his fist as he threw a punch. Crack. In an instant, the force that attacked him was smashed into smithereens. Interesting. Seeing that the attack was shattered, the double-horned demonic beast raised its eyebrows, flapped its wings, and dashed out. It only took an instant. The double-horned demonic beast came in front of Ningyu. Red Demon Sword. At the critical moment, Ningyu yelled and grabbed the air with his right hand. The red demon sword appeared in his hand. Swish. Ningyu flicked his wrist and slashed. It stopped when it was only a finger away from the demonic beast's neck. The double-horned demonic beast's pupils constricted, and its face was full of disbelief. It had not expected that this human martial artist would be so powerful. One had to know. He had used his speed to the limit just now. Even the top 20 Heavenly Lord substitute list might not have been able to react in time. The martial artist in front of it could react and slash at it with a flying sword. Could it be that he was really stronger than it was, as Lord of Heaven Rong said? I don't accept this. The double-horned demonic beast said coldly, what kind of hero are you to win with speed? Let's have a real fight. Fart. Ningyu burst into laughter. A demonic beast had attacked him first, and now it said that he was not a hero. What are you laughing at? The twin-horned demonic beast felt that it had been ridiculed by Ningyu, and its expression was slightly unsightly as it said in a low voice, I admit that I've underestimated you, but your strength is at most slightly stronger than mine. I don't believe that even 3 of me wouldn't be a match for you. Ningyu understood something from the double-horned demonic beast's words. It seemed that the Heavenly Lord hiding in the void had no ill intentions towards him. Of course, that was just his guess. He would not let the double-horned demonic beast go like that. Watch him. Ningyu casually handed over the control of the double-horned demonic beast to Ninglu. He turned around, looked at the void, and said, come out. In the void. Lord of Heaven Rong was slightly surprised by Ningyu's actions. His cultivation was at the Heaven Monarch realm, and he was very good at hiding his aura. In the Immortal Court, even a Heavenly Monarch realm expert with the same cultivation as him would find it hard to detect his presence. Now, Ningyu could easily detect him. This was enough to show how terrifying Ningyu was. Whoosh! Rong Tianjun did not linger in the void for long. He tore open the void and descended. He really is a heavenly lord. Ning Yu's expression turned extremely solemn when he sensed the aura from Rong Tianjuan's body. With his current strength, although he could be ranked in the top 15 of the Heaven Lord substitute list, he had no chance of winning against a Heaven Lord. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Rong Shida. Rong Tianjun did not attack Ning Yu. Instead, he smiled and said, "The double-horned demonic beast that you defeated is my mount." "Oh, it's Rong Tianjun." Ning Yu did not dare to be negligent. He cupped his hands at Rong Shida and said to Ning Lu, "Release the double-horned demonic beast." Whoosh! Hearing that, Ning Lu immediately released his control over the double-horned demonic beast. "Master." The double-horned demonic beast came to Rong Shida obediently and said with a timid face, "I've embarrassed you." "What are you talking about? It's a matter of course that you lost to him." Rong Shida waved his hand and said, "I have something to do. You will accompany Ning Yu and the others for a period of time." "Master, the double-horned demonic beast said hurriedly. "Buzz." However, before the double-horned demonic beast could finish its sentence, Rong Shida's figure flashed and disappeared. "Hey, your master has left. Now, can you introduce us to who you and your master are?" Ning Lu shrugged and asked as soon as Rong Shida left. "Humph. You'll be scared to death if I tell you." The double-horned demonic beast snorted and said, "We are from the deity, however." The double-horned demonic beast stopped abruptly in the middle of its sentence. The celestial court was not a place that anyone could enter. Without the token of the celestial court, even if one's cultivation had reached the Lord of Heaven realm, one would not be allowed to enter. Deity? Ning Yu frowned slightly. For a moment, a place seemed to have flashed through his mind. But on second thought, Ning Yu felt that it was unlikely. "Don't worry about it. You will know when my master comes back." The double-horned demonic beast rolled its eyes and waved its hand. "Come with me to Kuanshu City. I will protect you." "Protect us?" Ning Lu curled his lips and said, "You are weaker than Ning Yu. How can you protect us? In my opinion, we should follow Ning Yu more dependable." Ning Lu's words left the double-horned demonic beast speechless. It could not refute him. In fact, Ning Lu was right. Its strength was much weaker than Ning Yu's. After some thought, the double-horned demonic beast said, "Although I am not as strong as Ning Yu, I have some connections in Kuanshu City." "Connections? You?" Ning Lu's face was full of disbelief. "Humph." The double-horned demonic beast felt insulted and said coldly, "Let's wait and see. I will let you know what real connections are." Whoosh! As it spoke, the double-horned demonic beast flashed and flew toward Kuanshu City. "Are we going?" Ning Lu turned around and asked Ning Yu. "Let's go." Ning Yu kicked the Dark Emperor's butt and said, "Take White Crane into the Red Demon Sword." "Hee, no problem." The Dark Emperor chuckled and then took White Crane's corpse into the Red Demon Sword. The Dark Emperor would not go against Ning Yu. By following Ning Yu, he could constantly devour martial artists or heavenly demons to improve his strength. If he could enjoy White Crane's corpse alone, he could become a saint immortal. "Ning Yu, I have something to do." Hong Yu hesitated and said, "I won't go to Kuanshu City with you." "You won't go? That's a pity. I wanted to go to the Red Clan first." Ning Yu shrugged and said calmly, "Since you don't want to go, let's part ways here." After saying that, Ning Yu did not wait for Hong Yu's reaction and immediately flew toward Kuanshu City. Hong Yu did not expect Ning Yu to say such a thing. She was dumbfounded for a moment. "What are you waiting for? Let's go." Ning Lu patted Hong Yu on the shoulder and said, "Don't you know Ning Yu after following him for so long? Ning Yu will not sit by and do nothing about your expulsion from the Red Clan. The Red Clan is a second-rate family and extremely powerful. I'm afraid that Ning Yu will be in danger." Hong Yu gritted her teeth and said, "Are there any heavenly lords in the second-rate families of Kuanshu City?" Ning Lu asked. "You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.